Oh man, what's pretty good though? Family tree. Let me know that you guys are actually up in the building with me. And simply hit up the like button, drop some comments, and let us discuss. All right. As we're waiting for everybody just to load up and load in, I would love to just quickly read out to you the very first article. So for those of you guys who don't actually know, we've got two shows or two topics actually planned for you guys today. I'm not too sure if we're going to be able to do all the topics, but we have knife crime that we're dealing with. There was a major stabbing that actually happened today, right? Today in Hackney Central Station, right? And that was earlier on today. I believe it was roughly around 6 p.m. this actually happened. And there was also 3 people that were stabbed in Birmingham city centre. Okay, but there is another topic that we wanted to discuss as well. Is also what's going over in the Middle East, and we're talking about the mistreatment of how can I put it, migrant workers, right? So we've got maids that are being mistreated. We have an Ethiopian woman. Actually, let me play the video. Let me actually play the video footage of the Ethiopian woman falling. Let me do that.
أبا مينونة تعالي
Yes. Aish. Aish. Now, this isn't the first time I watched it. I've watched this. The first time I viewed this, I believe, was last year. And every single time I view this footage, it's my heart scream out. That's what it does. It's painful to watch, right? And as you can see down here is the damage produced by the collision. I'm pretty sure I showed you some of this last year, and I think I showed you guys her when she was in the hospital and the interview that she gave as well. Yeah, horrific, absolutely horrific. The one good thing that came out of this, justice was served. The employer was jailed for 1 year and 8 months. Okay, 1 year and 8 months. The woman holding the camera, who was heard saying, "Oh, crazy, come back in the clip," has now been jailed for 1 year and 8 months for filming her domestic helper's escape attempt. Okay, and I'm going to repeat: there is over 600,000. Okay, let me just get this in here. The oil-rich Gulf state is home to more than 600,000 domestic helpers. The majority of them Asians, many of whom complain of abuse, mistreatment, and non-payment of wages. All right. This particular incident happened in Kuwait. I just want to play you a few more, video footages as well. About Ashanti Black. Salute to you. If you want fast food, go to McDonald's. This is gourmet. Shouts out to brother Kalam and Uncle Ty. So salute to Ashanti Black all the way over from the USA for supporting Titans TV. Thank you guys for hitting up the like button. Yeah, crazy. I've also been watching as well. You guys have been posting up in the comment section, and you kind of highlighted this video for us. We should go and watch. So yeah, that's the same footage. But let me just quickly go over here and show you a few more gruesome things that's been happening. Okay, so just hold tight for 1 second. I just want to, while I'm waiting for everybody to come in, I'm just gonna of the footages of things that's been happening over in these Arab countries.
That's fine. One of the most shocking cases emerged in 2014 when a Sri Lankan maid returned from Saudi Arabia with 24 nails inside her body. The woman alleged that her Saudi employer had routine tortured her and drove nails into her body as punishment. Earlier this month, King Abdullah pardoned an Indonesian maid who was sentenced to death in 2003 after being convicted of witchcraft. What was she doing? Reading Harry Potter? What the fuck was she doing?
This video, which emerged on YouTube in early March, shows the moment Ethiopian migrant worker Kalam
Hold on though. Nails. No. Like, I'm actually letting this slide a bit too quickly. Like nails. Actual nails. We can see the x-ray scan of the actual nails that she was being tortured with.
That her Saudi employer had routine torture her and punishment. Earlier,
What on God's green earth? Okay.
Which emerged on YouTube in early March, shows the moment Ethiopian migrant worker Kalam was dragged along the street in Beirut. Shortly after this footage was recorded, she was taken to hospital, where she apparently hung herself. Alam's partner, Lemisa Ijita, remembers the moment he and their 2 children said goodbye.
Right, so this is very touching, so I'm going to just quickly scroll through real quickly.
She should have listened to her master.
Let's just listen.
I know people who would see that and be like, well, you know, she should have listened to her master. It's one of the things that made me the most uncomfortable going back to Lebanon, where I'm from. And I always identified as very Lebanese. And I felt so attached to that identity. And as soon as I went there, I was like, oh man, I'm Canadian as fuck. Even just seeing that people had maids. Just the fact, even when they were treated well. You know, I had one family member who didn't have a maid from Ethiopia, and she seemed to be treated well, and she was part of the family. It still felt so disgusting. Even though she's almost like an aunt. Obviously, there's got to be
limits. There's limits. It's like when you're accepted into a family like that. Yes, you're given some leeway and some sort. You also know what those limits are. If you were to talk back, let's say, the person in front of others, then all of a sudden you like know your place, right? And so it's a weird environment where everyone gets lovingly smile, but you're not allowed to do certain things because of the color of your skin and your place in society.
Exactly. And the fact that I knew that made me so uncomfortable. I know that there's invisible shackles on your wrists right now. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's slavery. There's no other way around it.
If you hold people against their will, if you give them no ability to leave, if you withhold their pay, which a lot of them are not being paid for the work that they're doing, if you physically and sexually abuse them and there's no repercussions for that abuse, then what would you call it? So there's I don't want to use the word influencer. This fuckface makes videos.
Fuckface is a good word.
Her name is Sandoz Agaran.
Sandoz? I've never heard of that. There's probably like a million Arab people being like, that's my mother's name. It's very...
For her to take a day off every week, that's 4 days a month. Those are the days that she'll be out. And we don't know what she'll be doing on those days with her passport on her.
Maybe if you create an environment where she wouldn't want to run away, you would.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
What do human rights have to do with the worker keeping her passport? Even our kids don't hold on to their passport.
You see a child and you think, you're not ready to make any decisions for yourself. I have to do everything for you. You're going to do as I say. And to look at another adult and see that same thing is telling of your entitled mindset. Well, how can this be wrong? I've been doing it for 25 years. Well, bitch, you've been wrong for 25 years. I know when she made that comment, there were other people around her who proofread it because influencers have a team, right? And so they read that and went, that looks good.
You're good. What's next? We give them food? How are you going to sleep? Who's going to comb your eyebrows? Everybody has a maid. Any family who has any bit of money, I'm talking like upper middle class families, they'll have a driver, they'll have a cook, they'll have somebody take care of the kid. It's part of the culture, just written into the culture. It becomes so normal that of course you're going to have people like this. You will say, in Lebanon, people will say like, Andi Sri Lanki, I have a Sri Lankan. Andi Filipina. Like, I think it's literally a possessive.
I have a
yes. It's written into the language. Okay. And still, the derogatory word towards black people is slave. One of my best friends growing up was a Sri Lankan dude. I just mentioned that when I was like 18 to my friends. That, like, my best friend's a Sri Lankan. Mentioned to my cousins in Lebanon. They were kind of like, ugh. What do you mean? Like, you're friends with a Sri Lankan?
I mean, I grew up in a Muslim family, and I'd always dealt with far more racism coming from Arab people than I did from any other racial group. I myself am not Muslim, but I always see it everywhere. But then you remember that the most renowned prophet, in the book is Musa. Extremely dark. You know what I'm saying? So you have prophets that are dark skinned that these people will sing about and chant about in their prayer groups, but then they'll treat other fellow looking black people like absolute trash.
I had a loaded gun pressed to the back of my head after being asked simply, do you want to marry this guy? And I gave the wrong answer.
And to Arab people's credit, if they're going to marry their daughters, they're going to hate the idea of marrying their daughters to any other Arab group because it's pretty tribalistic like that. Absolutely. But then along racial lines, it gets even more intense. And so on one hand, there's a desire in me to want to fight Islamophobia. On the other, it's weird to fight for people that would prefer killing their daughters over letting them marry me. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. That's a weird... The people who claim to be the most pious and the most righteous, are oftentimes just the most vile. You conservative Christians, the most anti-gay... There's always the most anti-gay...
Ethiopians in general.
And the few isolated Israelis who dared to protest, like this woman, were met with harsh backlash.
Like I'll have Lebanese friends who'll talk about how African migrants are treated in Israel. It's like, look on that issue. Look at your own house. It's no different.
All you right? I just think as human beings, we always want to do better. And if I say this,
okay. So I just wanted to get that. I saw this. Somebody sent this to me earlier on today. So I just want to make sure that you guys had the opportunity to see what I saw. Shouts out to you guys in the comment section as well. I'm tuned in right now. So if you've got anything to these, just simply type Titans TV and it helps us to know who's making any comments, because it just bolds it up for me, as well as I'm dropping the super chats as well. I'll definitely get back to all these ones, okay, because I can see them. It's bold, it's colorful. So yeah, what I'm going to do right now is get you guys involved to discuss this. All right, so the two topics is to do with what's going on in the Middle East and in these Arab countries. Wasn't that in Israel? Yes, that was in Israel. Yeah, there's racism everywhere, to be honest with you. So Arab countries, Israel is Israel an Arab country? That's technical, isn't it? I would call it an Arab country or the Middle East. So yeah, this is going on over in Israel. It's going on over in Lebanon, Kuwait, and all these other Arab specific countries as well. So let me actually drop you the link. All right, so that's it right there. So if you guys would like to come on in, let's discuss. And also, I want to discuss knife crime, okay? Knife crime. So let me get you guys involved. It would be nice to actually get some gang members on here as well. So when I say gang, I'm talking about guiding a new generation. So we can get some, guiding a new generation to pass through. Brother Maku, I know you're usually tuned in. Anybody else who would like to come on in as well, let me know and we can talk about it. So I'm going to kind of feel what the vibe is saying and see who exactly would like to discuss with us. All right, so it's either to do with the Middle East, or it's to do the mistreatment of Africans and Asians in the Middle East, or it's to do and knife culture. All right. So I'm just gonna wait for the panel just to fill up a little bit, and of course, hit up the like button. Show your love and support with Titans TV. Like button. Okay, so it says here, Run From Your Wife says, question, real talk, are you actually surprised about this? Arab culture is extremely xenophobic. Yeah, I'm not going to deny that. Very true. Very, very true. Let's go through. Bigger Valley, play the video back again, bro. All right, let me see. I'm going to play back a little bit later on. Give me a little while. They don't have an N word in Hebrew. That's correct. They are just saying you married a black person, just like some people in Speaker's Corner would say you're married to a white person. Yeah, so they're using the term Kushi. I believe it's Kushi, which is referred to as a black person. But the way that the word black or Kushi is being used towards black people, it's in a very derogatory way. All right, it's in a derogatory way. So when they're saying Kushi, they're not simply saying black. They're more like saying an Uncle Omar, black. They're more saying black, that type of way, which one could translate as, nigger, I guess. But yeah, Nosson is right. It's not actually the N-word. Do Muslims believe that Jesus will? Okay, let me quickly see. So yeah, we've got. No, I'm talking about, right? It says a phobia is a fear. Arab culture is not xenophobic. It is intrinsically fascist. Ooh, okay. All right. Ultra Funky says, I don't know enough about the conflict in the Middle East to make a substantial contribution on the topic. All right, cool. All right, so let's do this now. Let me actually go into the panel section and see who's with us. Let me just introduce everybody, and then we'll start the discussion. So Buddha, please introduce yourself to the audience and let us know which topic you would like us to discuss first.
Good evening. I'm easy. I'll drop a few cents on each subject, whichever you guys want to kick off first.
All right. We also have. I need you to mute your YouTube and let us know who you are, where you're calling from, and what topic you would like us to discuss. Yep, Denzel, can you hear me?
Yeah. Sorry, could you repeat again?
Well, can you just introduce yourself? Let us know where you're calling from, and let us know which topic interests you the most to discuss.
I'm Denzel. I'm from Croydon, and I want to talk about the abuse of Africans and Indians in the Arab world. That's what I wanted to talk about.
Great. All right. You use your mic or turn down your mic a little bit. It's quite loud.
Okay, sorry, 1 second. I'm not used to this, innit? So
perfect. Also got Jesna. I believe it's Jesna.
Yeah. I've got another name, but I go by Jesna online, and I want to talk about the abuse of African, South Asian people in the Arab world.
Awesome. I believe we've had you on before, haven't we?
I was on, I think, last week on Thursday.
Awesome. Great. Thank you. All right. We also got Kelly. What's good, King?
Hello, everybody. Hey, Kalam. My name is Kalam. I want to discuss about racism in the Arabic world from about Africans and Indians.
All right, perfect. We'll discuss. All right, Luna, can you introduce yourself? Tell us where you're calling in from and what you'd like to discuss.
Peace to the family. Peace, Kalam. Just calling in from Ilford sides. And yeah, I was hoping to speak about knife crime, but I think most of the panel want racism in the Arab world, so I'm cool with that as well.
All right, perfect. All right, we're definitely going to discuss knife crime. Don't worry about that. I've got you. All right, Niger, which is my queen, Betty. What's good? Talk to us.
Hello, hi everyone. Hello everyone in the chat. Manchester 0161. I'd like to discuss knife crime. I think it's really important, and the grooming of young boys into violence and stuff.
Awesome. So the second half of the show, I'm going to get you to kick that off. Ultra Funky.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Introduce yourself. Let us know where you're calling in from and which topic despite your interest.
Peace to the family. I'm Ultra Funky, King Black Atheist. I am calling from Battersea, and knife crime will be my topic of choice today, please.
Definitely. All right, and Unknown.
That's right. What's up, panel? I hope you're all doing very well and good today. So I don't have a particular topic that I'm looking to discuss, but what I am going to try to do is represent the Islamic narrative on each topic which is brought up. So I feel as if I'll be on a very defensive side today, but I'm all well and good and comfortable in doing that. So that's me for today.
Have we introduced everybody yet? But everybody's been introduced.
I'm
so it seems like we're actually
from Leicester, by the way.
Leicester up in the building. All right. Shouts out to Leicester University as well.
Yeah.
All right, Dan.
Yeah.
Is that Dan Holloway?
Yeah.
Dan, is that you?
Yeah. No.
Okay, your mic is doing numbers right now. So try to sort out your connection or your mic, and we'll get you on. So we're going to go straight into the discussion about how Africans and Asians, and I believe South Asians, are being treated over in Arabian or Middle Eastern countries.
Callum, quick question.
Yep.
Is that by any chance an ISIS flag in the panel?
That is not the ISIS flag. Let me just clarify. That is the Shahada, and it is not the ISIS flag.
Boy, how's that different to the ISIS flag?
It is different to the ISIS flag in that actually I might just let Kalam address that. I want to see you know how on side he might be with me on this anyway.
Do your thing. Do your thing. Just quickly do your thing.
Basically, the words are Arabic for the Shahada, and that's the only thing what familiarizes it with the ISIS flag. Other than that, it's just the colors, and that's it.
Okay. All right. Yeah, you do your thing then. Do your
All right,
thing.
brother.
All right. Okay. So let's stay on topic, everybody. Remember the rules over here on Titans TV. Today, let me think. Yeah, the rules are three rules.
Today, let me think.
Jarena. All right. Salute to Jarena as well for I see you. I've checked out your YouTube channel. Salute to you, Queen. But yeah, the rules today on Titans TV, normal three rules is to please, can I get everybody to keep their mics on mute? Mute. Second rule on Titans TV is to respect our panel members' ciphers. So when they're speaking, to please remain, keep and make sure you remain your mics on mute. Third rule is dun dun dun. Please, no profanity or ad hominem attacks. We want to have a nice, friendly discussion in the show today, and we don't want it to, what's the word? When it goes downhill. What's that word again? Post it up in the comment section.
It's called
All right.
descend, Cal. To descend.
There you go. Man. So I want to know, has anybody here, have family members or anybody in their community that has been affected by the whole issue that's going on in the Middle East? Anybody? Nope. All right, cool. So who would like to take the lead? Who would like to take the lead and actually discuss the mistreatment of Africans and Asians over in the Middle East? Who would like to take the lead on that?
I would like to start bringing up something to start with. Yeah, okay. I've recently saw some videos about people in Iraq, black people in Iraq, claiming racism because they're not really, uh, yeah, they've been separated. It's like what happened in South Africa with apartheid is going on over there, and it was interesting for me to see that people where the religion claims to be, uh, you know, multicultural or have no um, restrictions in that sense, that they all consider each other like brothers and sisters, no matter where you're from. That in that particular case, it's not real. Also, like I also seen something about the treatment of South Asians in Dubai, basically because the people from India actually built up the city. Um, they're like people that migrated to there, um, and for a small amount of money, they just they created the whole city actually, but they get no credit for it. And the only credit they get is that they have tax-free living, small apartments, small groups. The only entertainment they do is that they wrestle outside, um, because that's something part of the culture. Um, I also heard of people, for example, from Southeast Asia that, like what was be shown in the video, from the Philippines, but also from Indonesia, workmates been treated, raped, mistreated, like one of the worst people. Like even they are from the same religion, they're also Muslim. I've heard of maids been, after they've been abused, they just let them be thrown in the trash can somewhere outside or in a container, and that stuff bothers me. If it's part of their own religion, actually. I have some videos I could post, but I just keep it for now. Like this, it's enough.
All right, all right. So this one I want to do actually is to, discuss this in the manner of saying, are we are we comfortable to accept that this is a widespread phenomenon that's taking place in the Middle East, where Africans and Asians, South Asians, are being mistreated by Arabs? Are we going to say yes, or does anybody have any objections to that?
Yeah, I'll play devil's advocate if I may.
I think it's safe to say that that is
Yo, can you hear
empirically
I'm
true,
talking, my
by the
friend?
way.
Hello, can you hear I'm talking? So I would like to say this. I don't think it's just the Arab nations that Africans get mistreated. If we go to places like Russia, and any immigrant in places like Russia, Eastern Europe get mistreated. We can't just subjugate just the Arab nations.
Could I speak?
Yes. Go ahead.
Kalam, I just want to know if my volume is okay.
No, it's perfect now. It's perfect.
Perfect. I think it was Buddha who was speaking. He was correct that it's not only the Arab nations, some Asian nations as well, South Asian nations, and I think it all goes. It's definitely rooted in racism, but colorism as well. I feel like in the world we live in for a long period of time, for hundreds of years, I feel like the darker skin you have, it's like there's a problem with it. And other people that have lighter complexion or lighter skin tones have a problem with people that have darker skin tones. And we already know this, like living in the UK, like we're already subjugated to certain things that like certain mistreatment by the police and stuff like that. But there was a case that happened in, I think it was India, where Nigerian students who are abroad were beaten in a shopping mall, like really bad. I can't find the article. So I don't think it's just the Arab nations. I think it's Arab nations, some Asian nations, east to southeast, the European nations, the Americas, South Americas, wherever you're darker, there's a problem with your skin, and there's a likelihood you will be subjugated to racism. So yeah, that's my point of view.
Okay. What I would like to can I get you guys to mute your mics? So what I would like to do is to home in on the Middle East for now.
Okay. Sorry.
Let's not speak about these different locations. I think we can speak about global racism and things of that nature on another show. But today we just want to home in on the Middle East and speak about the mistreatments of the South Asians and the Africans in these countries, and kind of find out what is going on in these Middle Eastern countries, and also I want to know what is going on in these African nations and countries and the Asian nation and countries, to figure out why is there such a high influx of migrant workers, feeling as though they clearly know that these types of things are actually happening over in the Middle East. But what is it about the Middle East that these migrant workers are flocking over there? Okay, over 600,000 migrant workers, or 600,000 maids or domestic helpers are in these countries. And by the looks of it, a high volume of these individuals are being mistreated, abused, threatened. Their passports are being confiscated. They're not being paid. They're sexually abused. So what is going on? Like, I always like to take responsibility for the things that I have power and control over. So I want to know what is happening in if you're in, Sri Lanka, if you're Sri Lankan, that's the right word, Bangladesh, Pakistan, whatever you are, right? What is happening in Indonesia? What is happening in your country or our countries that's, got so many of us migrating over into these, I'm going to call these things hellholes, right? What is making you travel over to these places where your bottom is catching a light, you're catching fire? Like, what is possessing you to do that? Okay, so talk to me, family. I want to know what is going on in our country. Go ahead.
I wanted to say the reason why these migrants are going over to the Gulf, and it's because they pick on people that are in the most poorest areas. Say like in the Philippines or in Ethiopia or whatever, and they're sending them over. And what's sending them over is that the two countries, say for example, they're taking a bunch of people from Philippines and they want to send them off to, I don't know, maybe like Beirut or Kuwait or something like that. And they send them off because the government of the country that individual is from is selling them, literally like selling them, and they aren't people. I don't want to be disrespectful, but a lot of these people aren't always people that are like well educated. They come from the rural areas. They're not familiar with a lot of stuff that's come out recently. Like there's a lot of documentaries. There are documentaries in Swedish even talking about this issue, and it's under the it's just swept under the rug. And I think it's important that we have like conversations about this, but definitely it's the countries that they come from does play a responsibility.
Can I just say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, being Ethiopian and watching, because I think, yeah, the clip was quite old, and somebody said how the court case went through literally today. So I'm glad that the Arab owner has been arrested. But yeah, when I witnessed that incident, I was shocked, being obviously Ethiopian and watching my fellow African Ethiopian go through that. But what I can say is, with Ethiopia, we've had over 26 years of dictatorship under a minority tribe called the Tigrayans. And the people that came in during that time, they came from the jungle. They're not educated. They were fighting. So again, like the previous, I think her name is Jesna said. So they literally saw the people as a way of making money. So they would have what's the word? Almost like trafficked them to the Middle East. They did a deal with these countries that we will provide you all these workers and for this amount. So there was a deal. So obviously these women were mistreated in these Arab nations because the government didn't respect their own citizens, and they wouldn't respect, because a lot of these women come from rival tribes such as the Amara and the Oromo, which this regime are not from. So there was that aspect. So it was unfortunate that this happened to this poor girl, but there's also, a story behind that. And that regime was put in place by the West because they are sellouts. As you know, in Africa, the West back regimes that don't like their community, they don't like their country. So again, this is a political thing. So that happens in other countries in Africa as well. If you go into Nigeria and places like that, so they'll put these people in power who don't respect their citizens. So that's what happened in Ethiopia. However, we have a new leader now called Abiy Ahmed, who's a great man. The first thing he did was go to the Middle East, get the airline, and all those women that had their passports stolen from, he literally put them on the plane and they've gone back to their country. And he's also spoke to the leaders and, told them that you need to give their passports and their rights. So yeah, that's made a difference. But again, that's what happened because of the previous racist Tigray regime that was running Ethiopia, which, well, right now they're being sacked daily. So they're going to eventually lose their power. But that's what happened. I just thought I'll clear that up, why it happened. And like what I said about Ethiopia, other countries are probably going through the same thing in Africa.
Definitely, like in Somalia, I think 2016, it was when Hassan Sheikh Sharif, I'm not sure, is it 2016, 2015, basically another corrupt leader, these Somali men, they fled the Somali civil war. They're like, literally, if you go to like places like Manchester and Birmingham, they're taxi drivers, they're bus drivers, and then they come over to Somalia and they become, ministers, and they become presidents and prime ministers and everything. They're all working for their pockets, basically, and working for themselves. So I definitely see that, and I have been to Ethiopia. And I'm familiar, like, obviously, there's the Tigray tribe that's in control. And it doesn't make sense to me because the Oromo is like 40%.
And the Amara are literally the same as well. But at that time, they had, the Western backing. They had, you don't see it on the news, but everyone knows what was going on.
Obviously, yeah, so, definitely. And it's they've been like having their fingers in East Africa a lot.
Yeah, it's true. And that, I felt like with Ethiopia, that was like their model platform. They thought, okay, if they can get away with it in Ethiopia, let's try it on the other countries. But obviously, they weren't having it. The people just protested.
So are we saying that, for example, in Ethiopia, you got I believe it's the Tigrayan Liberation Party.
Yes.
Are we saying that, it's it's a lot of tribalism that's going on. One tribe is actually, abusing their powers and selling other tribesmen off into this new form of slavery.
They did. They did it for the past 27 years. They also did adoption. They sold off. They went to the villages and sold children to white people all over the world. So these children are literally in America, and they don't know their family, and their families in the countryside want them back. So they, within that 27 years, they did so many bad things like this, selling off and trafficking women to the Middle East countries. So this is an organized thing that they did, so which they need to pay for their crimes. And unfortunately, if their government doesn't respect their citizens, why would Arab nations respect them? So, well, things are changing there, but I'm sure other countries it's the same thing. They've been trafficked to work in the Middle East, and the Middle East want servants, but so yeah.
It's the same thing that's been going on in, I think, Libya as well. With people talk about there's a migrant crisis, not migrant crisis, but auctions of slaves. I don't want to be disrespectful or anything, but it has. I think Jarina has sort of touched on it like a little bit. It's been going on for a long time, and it isn't something new.
Yeah, the mafia are involved, aren't they, with the Libyan selling of Africans? Yeah, so there is definitely a pull factor from Europe, but it doesn't reach the news. Nobody knows about it.
Is this the same case in Somalia and Somaliland, where it's a tribal issue, where the other tribesmen are selling off other tribes as well? Is that the same?
Not really, because the one that I aforementioned was the Hassan Sheikh Sharif's government. The thing is, with Somalia right now, we're divided up into 6 different regions. But on the news, they only talk about Somaliland and Somalia, and they don't really talk about within Somaliland, we've got distributed areas between inter-clan stuff. But when it comes to sending people off into slaves and stuff, it's anybody. It doesn't matter what tribe they are, we're going to sell them off. If we can make a quick amount of money, and they don't have a strong sultan, so basically a tribe leader that's strong enough to we don't have tribes in Somalia, but it's clan leader more like. If we get a strong one, then there is something that you could do about it. But if you're rural and you don't have that, then you could be sold off, and you've got no choice here. You're gonna be like, oh, you know what? I'm just gonna sacrifice my youth just so that I can build my mum and dad back home. A really nice house. And the issue with Somaliland and Somalia is really complicated, and I think we need a separate platform for that. But I don't want to go too much into it, and it is linked into the Somali civil war, is what I want to say.
And Titan, I just want to touch up on that. Sometimes they most of the time they trick them. So these are young women who haven't left the country. They tell them you're going to have a house, you're going to work here. So there is that trickery, and they go willfully. Their friends go, so they feel like they have to go. It's like going to another country. So they fall for it that way. And actually, a lot of them they do make money. They do send money back home. So we can't deny and say that they didn't benefit the economy of their village. They did send money. A lot of them moved back and they started businesses with it. And it's just the risk they take, when they go there, that some things like this have happened. And if you speak to a lot of the Africans, if you tell them, but what if this happens? What if Libya happens? Sometimes they just don't care. They're like, I want to make my fortune. They just don't know what's out there. So they just go. So I think with more education, people are starting to see, there's work in our country. There's no need for you to travel, and there's no need for you to work as a servant, So I think it just needs education.
Yeah, definitely spreading the word out a bit more and talking about it. And instead of relying on documentaries from or news articles or anything from the mainstream, why don't we just do it ourselves? You know what I mean? We've got YouTube now. So.
Exactly. And if there's peace, you're not going to see them run up and leave the country in mass droves. Now there's peace in Eritrea, the youth are not going to be leaving. So again, those issues were there.
Definitely.
All right. So, family, real quickly, can I get you guys to show us some love and some support? And hit the like button, family. Hit the like button. I know there's a lot of you guys that's trying to get in right now. I know you guys are saying, send us the link, send us the link. Unfortunately, I think the panel is full, right? The panel is full. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep, the panel is full. Unless somebody would like to give up their turn. We're going to try to spend at least an hour on this topic, right? So we've
Yo,
gone through at
Kalam,
least.
I do apologize for interrupting. The
Yep.
topic that's currently at hand, I can't contribute. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna jump out for now.
Okay.
I'll give up my spot, and then when we do the knife crime thing, I'll jump back in.
All right, perfect. So we've got another half an hour of this particular topic. So if I can get you guys who want to come on and discuss this particular topic and think that you have something that you can add and is beneficial to us and the audience that we can learn from, please jump in. Okay, jump in. All right, please jump in. Okay, so we've got Mikius, Johannes. Do you have something that you wanted to add to this?
I just want to say I feel as if the sisters especially painted quite a fair picture in pointing out that there's definitely a degree of mutual benefit in both sides when it comes to obviously the Arab recipients and the African ones who are actually giving the slaves or the servants or whatever you want to call them, the migrants, up at the moment. But I think what would be good if we was to get into would be what would be the situation of the migrants once they actually land upon their new destination? Because at the moment I feel as if it's like quite a political conversation, which I feel as if you're going to need a lot of information to address a lot of those issues. But I feel as if they painted a fair picture in that sense. So where the conversation goes from here, it'd be interesting to see anyway. Just thought I'd say that.
Grand. I love that. So you asked a very relevant question. We're actually going to give you something right now. We're going to actually shout out to Kalam for actually sending us the video clip. So there's a nice video clip that gives a account of what actually happens. Bear with me. I'm going to put about 3 minutes of it, okay? So bear with me. Let's play it, and then we can discuss some more.
Can I just say something, Titan? Is it necessary to watch it?
Sorry?
Is it necessary to watch the actual video of her being thrown off the cliff? What would be the point?
We're not watching that.
Okay, good. Just to make it clear.
Still on Kenya, I had a story of one woman, and that story broke my heart. I'm talking about Joyce Nyawira, who moved to Saudi Arabia in June of this year to start a lucrative job that was promised by her Saudi agent. In fact, he sent her the contract of the job before leaving Kenya, and the contract stated that she would be serving a royal family in Riyadh. That is the capital city of Saudi Arabia. But when she landed in Saudi Arabia, she was taken to a farmer's family in a place called Sakaka, located more than 1,200 kilometers from the capital city. She's never been to Saudi Arabia, so she didn't know where she was being taken. And when they got there, she was forced to wait on a family of 18 people. Every day she would wash all their dishes as well as their clothes. Every day she would clean 18 rooms. She would clean 7 toilets and bathrooms. She would feed 100 chickens. And when the sun goes down, she has to go and work in the farm, which they call shamba. And on top of that, she would go without food for days because they only fed her whenever they felt like. In fact, there was a time she was locked in the chicken shed that was outside in the harsh desert heat of Saudi Arabia and the chilly nights. And they locked her there for 3 days without food. So keep in mind, all this happened in June of this year. I said that so you know that this is still going on. Now, to cut the long story short, one day she discovered some blood-stained female clothes inside a trash can, as well as a Safaricom SIM card, which they use in Kenya, and a 50 shilling airtime scratch card. So she put 2 and 2 together and realized, wait a minute, if this is a Kenyan SIM card with 50 shillings still on it, and these are female clothes stained with blood in a trash can, she was like, there must have been another Kenyan woman here before she came, and that woman must have been killed. So she decided to call her agent that this is what she found, and she wants to leave the house immediately, which to me was not that smart, because this same agent was the one that got you in the mess that you're in. Why trust him to get you out of it? Unfortunately for Joyce, that agent decided to call her employers and told them that, hey, the new lady found out what happened to the last lady. So as a punishment, they locked her up in the chicken shed for more than a week. During that time, she fed on whatever was left over by the chickens. However, none of them in that family wanted to touch the chicken manure, which had been piling up since they locked her up, because she was doing all the work. So because they needed her to clean up the chicken manure, they released her in order for her to clean it up. And that day, while she was disposing the chicken manure, she discovered the graves of 2 former employees. So she realized, hey, it wasn't just one maid that had been killed before I came. 2 people had been killed before I came. So guess what she did? She piled some junk and some wood on top of a wheelbarrow and climbed over the fence of the compound and then started running for her life. She's never been to Saudi, like I said. She had no clue where she was going, but she said she kept running like a mad woman anywhere but where she was until she met a good Samaritan, someone who gave her some food and called the police. Now, according to Joyce, 2 policemen came to get her, but on their way to the police station, they took turns to rape her. Yes, yeah, policemen, I know. But that's not all. When she got to the police station, they put her in jail, and she was there for almost 2 months. Actually, she met about 50 other Kenyan women in that jail while she was there. But she was very lucky because a female police officer finally pitied her and decided to call her owners and made them buy her return tickets back to Kenya, as well as made them drive her to the airport. And of course, on the way to the airport, that family physically assaulted her. They beat her up, they tore her dress, but you know what? She's just glad to make it back to Kenya alive. Now, this is actually not Joyce. This is one of the people that were crying as Joyce was sharing her story with the press. For now, we are not seeing Joyce's picture because of all that she's been through, because of the stigma. But you know, if only I can explain how I felt when I read her story. I was furious that anybody would treat a human being like that. I don't know why many Saudi Arabians are treating Africans like this and getting away with it. As you know, this is not peculiar to Kenyans. Ethiopians are treated the same way. I've talked about this in the past. In fact, there are several pictures of Ethiopians killed in Saudi Arabia, men and women. But how come this is thousands of immigrants from Saudi Arabia? How come they are still treating people like this? I found out that Saudi Arabia's sponsorship system, known as kafala, ties employment visas to employers, indirectly turning voluntary servitude to slavery. They do this to Asians as well. They would arrange a resident permit by recruiting agencies that match the worker to the household, and then they would charge both parties a recruitment fee. So now the workers will become indebted to the agencies. A typical workday for domestic workers in Saudi Arabia is between 15 to 18 hours in a day. Imagine somebody working straight for 18 hours in a day out of 24 hours, and they pay them about $5 to $7 per day. And guess what? Some of these employers would refuse to pay the employees for a long time. In fact, sometimes for years, they may not pay the employees. They would say, we're giving you food, we're giving you a place to sleep, even if it's outside. They'll say, what do you need the money? They've actually killed their employees if they keep asking for their money. There are no off days, no rest hours, there's no vacation, no nothing. As you know, slavery was officially abolished in Saudi Arabia in 1960. At that time, though, there were about 300,000 slaves still in Saudi Arabia. Even though it was abolished on paper, hey, practice continued unofficially. First of all, when will our people in Africa learn that the grass is not necessarily greener on the other side and that not all the glitter is gold? I mean, we've been hearing stories like this for a long time.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So I don't know who wants to jump on that. You asked what actually happens to these ladies. You know, we just got a nice, I say nice, we've just received a report account of what actually takes place. So Mikius.
Yo, actually, Kalam, like it's not even only in Saudi Arabia. It's like in the whole Arab country. My father is from Ethiopia, and I know what's going on over there. Like they in Qatar and in what do you call it, Lebanon and everything. Like they throw off people. Literally, they throw off people from the buildings and everything. So it is like racism right there. And I remember this video from, I don't know if you guys watch it or something like that. One Lebanon supermodel, like she was saying, like, how could we live with these apps like slaves? And it's like everywhere, brother. It's not a new thing. I don't know why it is glamorized right now, but it's not a new thing, bro. If anybody want to add something, like, just say something, man.
All right. So yeah, the floor is yours. Their mics right now.
Yeah, it's been going on for a long time, like you said. But hopefully, through education and social media, they won't go.
And what do you think we can, as a community over here in the West, or if we're currently residing in Africa or Arabia, what can we do to change what's going on? What can we do to change the mindset of, you know, these, I'll have to say, these enslavers or these kidnappers or these torturers or these murderers or these rapists or abusers? What can we do to change their mindset? What is it inside of them that is finding it okay? How can you do this to another human being? Or is it that they don't view these people as human beings? Have they already viewed that?
My personal opinion, Titan, naturally, they are savages. The people that do it, they are naturally savages. They're not civilized. They just got money recently. So just because they have all this money doesn't mean that naturally that they are, you know, they're decent people that follow good morals. They're not naturally. They are savages, and that's what we're seeing when they see somebody that is different to them. Just their behavior, I suppose. But just because somebody, you know, has found oil on the ground doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, they're better than you. that doesn't mean that they have a history.
Actually, can I say something on that?
Yeah,
All right. Okay. All right. It's been there in Arabic culture, like in the Muslim culture. It's been always there. Like it's not a new thing. Like they still call black people abds. That means slaves. So they grew up on it. It's like a culture for them. If you want to change them, like you have to change their mindset from Islam. I'm not being radical or something, but it's like the reality over there. That's it.
I feel like that was a bit of a radical statement to then say, I'm not being radical or anything. But I
My man,
think
it's not
Kalam,
radical. It's not radical. It's just the reality, brother. Come
I
on,
know
man.
what I'm trying to say is that I feel as if you were very quick to associate what's cultural with what's Islamic, which is not something which is fair. I don't
It's not
feel
Islamic.
it's not Islamic. You saying?
Come on, man. You scholars say like if anybody say the prophet is black, just kill him. It's not Islamic, bro.
I mean, look,
Yeah,
the
one second,
conversation
one
is
second.
definitely going to divert if we just start throwing out weak scholarly statements, etc. So let's just try to keep it a bit more relevant. Anyway, Callum, so you
It's not
saying
relevant, bro.
you want to like move forward, find like a solution to this, and the sister was quite quick to point out that this is a natural, savage sort of kind of behavior. But I mean, I feel as if it'd be very effective if what we could do is we could like break down the numbers. I mean, if we had any kind of numbers or surveys, like, so the people, the migrants which are being mistreated, to what level are they being mistreated? Because I can't imagine that in the country of Saudi Arabia, the level of mistreatment is all going to be monetized. Not monetized, sorry, monotonistic. It's like a one-way sort of one level. It's going to be lesser in some places and more severe in others. So, for example, the kidnapping, the killing in one area might be a lot less compared to another area, whereas where the mistreatment might be something just as quite as simple as, giving them their wages a week later, etc. So I feel as if it's unfair to paint the whole mistreatment with one level of mistreatment, if you understand what I
Brother,
mean.
brother,
Hold
I
on.
don't,
You
I
guys,
don't.
mute your mics for 1 second, okay? Mute your guys, please. Mute your mics. All right. So, you know what? I want to just touch on what the sister earlier on said about, savage nature and so forth. I don't think this is something that's, you're born like. I think it's something that you've been enculturated and acculturated into. There is some form of education process that taught you somehow that these, Sri Lankans, these Filipinos, these Indonesians, these Bengalis, these, Ethiopians, these Kenyans are something not to be viewed as humans. They are subhumans. There's something that, you are allowed to mistreat. So I'm trying to figure out, is that the case? Are they being taught this? Where is this education coming from? If so, what can we do to stem that and re-educate these people?
Callum, you know what? I got one question for either yourself or the jihadi fella. Is slavery halal?
Which slavery are you referring to? Are you referring to the modern day term slavery or the historic term slavery?
Okay.
It is halal.
Sorry, I'm just going to ask the question again.
We all know
Forget
that
about
slavery, according to the Islamic Sharia, is permissible and allowed.
Okay, therein lies your problem. That's the answer right there.
No,
It's halal.
that's very. You've just generalized a whole concept. You cannot do that.
I can't do that.
You
Wait.
can't do that.
Excuse me. Hold on. Wait. So the word slavery, regardless of how you want to dress it up as indentured slavery, as servitude, blah 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 blah, is slavery. And if it's halal, then there you go. That's just your issue. In their mind, they're justified in what they're doing.
Okay. Well, if you wanna use your method of defining terms, and let's do that. But then, if we were to do that, then what you'd find is that every single Muslim would consider themselves a slave, because we consider ourselves slaves to God. So,
Of course.
is that the same kind of slavery you're referring to as well?
Well, yes. If you consider yourself a slave to anything, be it a god, be it a master, be it whatever, then it's quite reasonable to assume that you wouldn't have an issue taking somebody who's a kuffar, who's a pagan, an idol worshipper, as your slave because you're a slave yourself. So
Okay, so I
if you
feel
don't
as if
have
what
if you don't have an issue with the word slavery and the actual actions of slavery, I can understand how you would be inclined to take people as your slaves.
okay, so what you've done is you've equated the servitude of a human.
Before you do that, I've got to read out the comment sections because some people are actually.
Titans, that was rude. Callum, that was very rude to mute me in that moment. But do you know what? It's okay. Carry on.
Yeah, just mute your mic, please. So yeah, again, all right. 1 second. You know, we've got Run From Your Wife. He's dropped some donation. He says, "Which slavery laughed my ass off?" All right. So again, family, I see you lot pulling me up and telling me that I should be reading the super chats. I'm reading them. Okay, academic screeching. I'm reading them. So what I need you guys to do is simply tag Titans TV. See if it's tagged Titans TV, and if you do super chats like this, you know, it's highlighted for me, and I'll be able to read out your comments. Okay. So all you need to do is simply tag us or you know, hit the super chat button, and I will get those comments or questions read out. Perfect. All right, back to it. Unknown. What is your name actually? Unknown. Unknown.
You can just call me Unknown. It's sort of become my YouTube name by force. So just call me that.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Right. So I feel as if what the brother did, yeah, is compare the servitude of what a human being would be happy and willing to do to his creator, to the one who feels created him, with a forcible type of slavery where somebody's been taken from their homeland and become a slave in that sense. And he sort of tried to project my method of defining slavery based upon my beliefs in that submission to the creator, which I find that bizarre. So I mean, if he could elaborate, I'd be happy to, you know, maybe listen to what else he had to say on that.
Yes, quite. I'll be happy to elaborate as best I can. So, again, if you use the word slavery, yeah, you give it a usage whereby it's acceptable. So if you're saying you're a slave to Allah, okay, fine. So you're making that word come like a nice word because it's an admirable thing to be a slave to Allah. Okay, so if you use that terminology somewhere else, i.e., you take a slave, it's not such a bad word because you know what? I'm a slave to my God, like you just said, and I'm in servitude to my God, and I'm happy to do that. So if I have a slave and that slave's cleaning chicken shit and whatever, then you know it's okay because slave is there's such an emphasis on that word, but I don't put that emphasis on there because I'm a slave. I hope that clarifies the usage of that word.
It clarifies the usage, but what I find amazing is the fact that you feel as if, as a Muslim, we're going to define our behavior based on terms. Okay, so I'm a
This is not
slave.
about Muslims. This is
Linguistic.
about slaves. This is about people being mistreated. Most of those people are Muslim that are in the Middle East, but it's just the racial thing, as you can clearly see. The people that are being treated badly are darker. So don't turn this into a religious debate because this is about race. They're mistreating people from poorer countries that are darker. That's what it is.
I mean, my reason for being here is for this not to be a religious debate. So you're on my side.
Yeah.
I know she's right because there are many Muslims that are mistreated in the Arabian Peninsula.
Of course.
So she's right. The idea of changing it into a religious thing, you know, you just gonna gloss over.
Thank you very much,
say
sister.
that before.
Let me ask a question. Unknown. Sorry, Jesna. I'm gonna get back to you. Unknown. Would you mind being my slave? Just want to know that.
Would I mind being your slave in define the term slavery? Sorry, I don't want to get technical, but I feel as if there's people watching and I have to be very careful with all of my words and as do you. So just define what you mean by that.
The same slavery that's going on in the Middle East right now. Would you mind being my slave?
Okay, so from the Islamic narrative, Kalam, yeah, let's say there was an invasion, etc., a war, and you guys on the
Stop, my brother, stop. I'm not talking about an invasion. I'm talking about being sold into slavery. You know,
Sold into slavery, so not taken captive.
Nobody there is being taken captive. There are migrant workers that are being duped into becoming slaves. That's what's going on. They're being sold into slavery, and people are buying them under the guise of housemates and houseboys and so forth.
Yeah, that is absolutely forbidden in Islam.
Okay. So you personally would mind being a slave?
Me, I mean, as I said, like if it's become, I mean, a right upon me to obey somebody who's looking after me because I've been taken captive, that's a different story to me having been sold by somebody who had no right to take me in the first place.
Put yourself in the position of these Ethiopian, Kenyan, Ugandan, Indonesian, Sri Lankan, all these individuals. Would you mind being a slave?
Of course, because they're not slaves by right, so it's oppression.
Okay, that's all we wanted to hear from you.
Okay.
So let me get back into Jesna real quickly.
Basically, what I wanted to say to the brother is just, I think it's been cleared up, but it's not about religion. It's about people having darker skin color, and because we're living in this day and age, it's like, okay, if you are prejudiced to somebody who's dark skinned, it's gone into like racism and stuff, which is the main issue, is that they're keeping people captive who have a darker skin color, or not even, like, sometimes it's they're not Arab. Like, I don't see them doing the same thing to a European person.
That's true.
And somebody from South Africa that's white. Like, it's people, they're doing this to people that are darker skin, and that's what the conversation is about. If you want to go talk about religion, that's a different.
Well, do you know what, Gisney? I was going to say the same thing. I'm glad you brought that up, because there are a number of Russian females in places like Dubai, Arab Emirates. There are citizens from the Czech Republic. There are lots of Eastern Europeans that are females that are in those areas. They don't get treated like that. And I'd like to know why it is they don't get treated like that. Why? What is it that's different? Now, you've brought up that it's the color of the skin, the darker colors of the skin. I get that. We can try and work out the dynamics, but in my opinion, regardless of whether you're an indentured slave that's trapped into servitude, or you're a sexual slave that's forced to be a prostitute, or whichever, whatever, the word slavery I have a great issue with. So regardless of your color of skin, or whatever you are, or whether you're a Sri Lankan, whether you're a male, whether you're a construction worker, a prostitute, it doesn't matter. The word slave I have a great issue with. So I'm trying to understand why it would be permissible in the first place to have slaves in your country and treat them the way you treat them. That's what I was trying to get to.
Right. So basically, the more I get like a bit older, the more I realize the fact that people are prejudiced to other people because of the color of their skin. It's an illness. Like, I honestly think it's an illness, and they pass it down to people through generations and generation. And we can have an argument saying that, it's been since the dawn of time. People have always thought that having a lighter skin is classier. We do this to ourselves. We say like light skin, dark skin, everybody brown skin. Do you know what I mean? Like, we always say that to people, and it's an illness that's been carrying on, and it's saturated within the Middle East because of various different reasons, and also particularly Gulf is because they've recently found wealth, and they need to do something about it before their oil runs out, right?
Yeah.
So they need lots of workers, lots of bottom feeders, that what they want to call, and then they're bringing over people that are from poorer countries, not even just poorer countries, but poorer areas within those countries, exploiting them, making deals with these other countries because they know that the leaders of that country are gonna be more lenient compared to them not going to, they're not going to Eastern European countries that aren't as wealthy as other European countries. So honestly, when you look at it, it's kind of like a bigger picture, and it's a jigsaw, and they all fit in together. Like, it's like, there's little tiny pieces, and the more we look at it like that with each other, the more we're going to educate people and more we can get rid of this illness of thinking that you're better than somebody.
Well, Miss, do you know what? I'm gonna put this to you. Do you know what? I would say that this. You're quite right what you say. This color thing, this light skin fetish that people have, it's present in most cultures. You know this, like in India and China and all of these places. This light skin thing, Sri Lanka, everywhere you go, you'll find this light skin thing is a big thing. You understand? I don't know whether that's prominent in like it is in Saudi Arabia in those Arab nations, because you'd have countries where, like India, for example, these are brown people, and if you're black and you go there, there's accounts of people getting mistreated just because they are black. Okay, but are they put into slavery? No, they're mistreated and ill-treated, yeah, but they're not forced to be slaves. Why is it that these so-called Arab Gulf states do this? This is what I'm trying to ascertain in this conversation.
All right. Let me get you guys to meet your mics real quickly. There's a few people that haven't actually spoken yet, so let me see if I can get Luna into the conversation. Luna.
Yes, brother. Interesting points coming out of this conversation so far. Yeah, but one thing that strikes out to me, yeah, I have to be honest, like it might be a bit of a layman statement, but I want to know what on earth are these, like, what are the countries saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, you saw the video of the Kenyan woman. Like, what's the Kenyan nation saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, if it was a British citizen that happened to, obviously Britain would stand up, and Britain would have a whole bunch of stuff to say about that, and that would surely come to an end quickly. Like, we've got a whole bunch of British people, dark-skinned British people, working in Dubai and whatnot, and this stuff can't happen to them. Like, they can't be touched like that. No way. So what are these countries, what are these governments saying about their people that's getting mistreated out here, or out there rather? Because, like, from where I'm standing, like, from where I'm looking, that stuff shouldn't even stand. Like, when Kalam showed that video, that stuff I can't even look at, because it's just like, it's inhumane, isn't it? So I don't know about these nations. I don't know what they're saying. And then also, one question keeps popping up in my mind: what did these people like think about black people? Like, do they think that when they look at black people, automatically do they think that they're looking at some poor people or whatever? Do they not see value in black people? Because, as it's been pointed out already, this stuff can't happen to Arabs. You know what I'm saying? They won't do it to their own people. It won't happen to like lighter people. So when they look at darker people, do they literally see people that are not of worth? Because if Africa or like dark skinned people, whatever, were rich and whatnot, did have power, could they ever really touch us like that? Like, could they really, or rather, would they ever see themselves in a position where they can take liberties like that, where they can take dark-skinned people, black people, and think that they can do this and get away with it? Because if they thought that they couldn't get away with it, like, would they really do it? You know what I'm saying? Like, those are my thoughts on this.
No. They would never have done it. And that's why, you know, when people talk about white privilege, some of us over here in Britain, UK, we're actually, because of that passport, we definitely do have British privileges, where those things there, almost seems like it's vacant to us, like it doesn't happen to us for some strange reason. I've kind of noticed that I'm going on holidays in different places where, me and another person, we may look the same, i.e. black, brown skin and so forth, but for some strange reason, maybe my accent, maybe my dress, maybe the way I appear, I'm being treated completely different to another African brother.
Can I just say something, Titan? I just had a conversation with my cousin the other day, and she said a Moroccan guy who works with her said, "Oh, I never considered black girls as a potential girlfriend in America, and ever until I came to America." That's what he said. This is a Moroccan guy. He said the black people in his country are ugly. Those are his words, and he's Moroccan. So that's the kind of level of anti-blackness around the world we see, and that's how they treat their people in their country.
That's right. Shocking.
But
All right,
one
family,
guy's
we're
sexual
literally reaching
attraction does not really
end.
Yeah, but again,
focus here.
that's linked to anti-blackness, universal anti-blackness, and
Sorry, Jarina. Let me just go and meet you guys, okay? Because we are reaching the end of this topic. We have been on here for an hour now. Family, if you're in here, you're tuned in, you're loving the show so far, please make sure you hit up the like button. Nosson says, because it's not about skin color, it's about culture. What's the most common role for slaves? Trade, building new town cities, or sexual, to name a few. Yeah, so it is subdivided, based upon accounts that I've been listening to. The men are being used for buildings and things of that nature. The women are being used for being housemaids and doing that type of work, as well as being sexual, sexually being abused over there as well. So let me do this, okay? There is a few of us that's tuned in right now, and I want to make some space. I actually wanted Uncle Ty to come on to quickly speak on this topic. Uncle Ty, if you're looking in right now, right, I would love for you to get the last words on this. So let me know if you're actually here with us right now, so I can drop you the link, okay? Or if you can email me so I can drop you the link. All right. So far there is no tie. There is no tie. All right. And again, I'm gonna keep posting the link to you guys, okay? So you guys can jump in as soon as somebody jumps out. Lexi, I don't know if it's possible. Could you send him the link? You can. Sometimes as a man, it's very hard to multitask. Dwayne Dibley says, "A hour doesn't do it justice, Kalam. You need to revisit this." I know. It's like we need to set up a new show to do the knife crime. So actually, if you can speak to Jedi, I know Jedi was actually in the chat room earlier on, but if you can get somebody from GANG to pass through and we can get them the link, that would be absolutely awesome. It would be great to get somebody to talk on the knife crime issue. Okay, so let me just quickly check. Fear. Baba, what exactly did you want to speak about today with us?
Yeah, well, I just wanted to talk about basically how I think this stuff will continue to happen in it and get worse unless when you can, like, say Africa continues to deny Haiti to the African Union, and such behavior like that will continue to make Africa go through hell, basically. If you think that you can't use the help of the Caribbean or Americans to assist you lot, it's going to continue to do this shit, because we're just going to watch you lot, basically. Like what Luna just said, that's the question I wanted to ask as well. Like, what do these African countries have to say when they see people from their country, this shit happening to them? Because we don't hear nothing from them. We got us over here in Britain talking about it. You know what I mean? It's like, if you don't need help, get the help. And then when you got countries that are known for fighting back other oppressors that's not their nation, you don't accept them. It's things like that that's make me think, what do you even want any resolution in this, or do you just want it to keep happening and it goes under the rug or something? Because these stuff happen and then we quiet down about it because of some book like the Queen getting married or some shit, and then next minute, never 5 years, we start bringing it back up again. Like, it's not going to keep happening every day, 365 days. Someone's raped, someone's slaved or whatever. No one's doing nothing in Africa. You need help. These African countries need help, not from other African countries, from the diaspora. So unless they do that, it's starting to piss me off, bro, because you start seeing this, it's making black people just look weak as a whole. You know what I mean? And there's people that's willing to fight. You even tried it. When the people that are trying to assist you, you deny them. It's like, what hope do we have? Yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
Thank you, Bob. All right, let me go into James. James.
Hi. Hey, I just wanted to say that I agreed that there's definitely a very big sort of race element to this, in that kind of, yeah, it's kind of pretty well founded that kind of Arabs seem to treat different nationalities, and in particular kind of, I know, European nationalities better in their kind of employment. However, I think it also needs to be said that there's a kind of religious element to this too, in that I mean, so definitely there's the kind of racial element where kind of you ask, why is one kind of domestic worker treated or tutor or something treated worse or better than a domestic worker from another race. But there's also the question of kind of where like the culture of paternalistic mistreatment of domestic workers in Middle Eastern countries is a direct consequence of the teachings of Islam and the example of Muhammad and the consensus of Sharia law built by Muhammad's companions and the early Islamic community. Yes, I'll show you some evidence of this now. Can I screen share, Kalam?
Yes, you can. Go ahead.
Okay, wait a second. Let me just turn this on. Can you all see this?
Yes,
Hello?
we can.
Okay, yeah. So this is a kind of from the Muwatta of Malik, who is the font large enough to read? I'll just make it a bit larger. But basically, this is from the founder of one of the four kind of schools of Sunni Islamic law, and one of the kind of major schools of Sunni Islamic law. And it's a narration from him that says that he was talking to Ibn Abbas, one of the other companions of, or rather that Ibn Abbas, one of the Muhammad's companions, was asked about coitus interruptus. He called a slave girl of his and said, "Tell them." And she was embarrassed, and he said, "It is all right, and I do it myself." Malik said, "A man does not practice coitus interruptus with a free woman unless she gives her permission. There is no harm in practicing coitus interruptus with a slave girl without her permission. Someone who is someone else's slave girl as a wife does not practice coitus interruptus with her unless her people give him permission." So this is the kind of sort of framework, the kind of mindset that gets passed on in Islamic tradition. And this is one of the major four schools. Like if someone says, "I'm a Maliki," you know, that's well accepted, kind of following Malik. He's highly esteemed. And it's this kind of mindset that has been inherited. And it's the reason why they have such paternalistic attitudes, where they believe, like Kalam showed the example of, showed the clip earlier in the show, or earlier in the evening, of this Kuwaiti woman saying, you know, "Why can't I take my maid's passport? We don't give passports to our children." It's that kind of paternalism, which is a direct footprint from this kind of tradition of how they viewed slaves in, you know, in the Sunnah, in Muhammad's example, and in the examples of his companions. And yeah, it's there in Arabic as well. This is from Muwatta Malik, book 29, Hadith 100. So we can't neglect the effect that religion has on subsequent culture. But yeah, there is also definitely a racial component as well. That's what I wanted to say.
All right, thank you for that. I don't think there is any rebuttal to that right now, unless Ondo wants to say something really quickly, because I need to free up some space for Uncle Ty to come in and touch on this topic.
I mean, I would ask two questions in that. How does that have anything to do with the legitimacy of slaves in the modern day? And number two, the mistreatment of them.
Okay, so if you didn't get that, it's okay. We'll discuss that another time. So Uncle Ty, can I get you to come in, please? Okay. All right, one space available for you. So please come in right now as we're speaking. There is one space available for you. We've made space, okay? So we're gonna wait for Uncle Ty to come in. Uncle Ty, I know, you know, you've had great, shalom. I know you've had great experience being out in the Middle East. You know, you've lived out there, you've experienced it firsthand. You've seen a lot of things. I'm pretty sure you've seen a lot of atrocities as well. So I need you to kind of speak on this topic with us and really, you know, give us your words of wisdom.
Right, shalom to you, brother Kalam. Shalom to you first. Thanks for having me on. Thanks for having me on yesterday as well. I didn't know it was going to take that long, me being on the platform. I hope you understand I didn't intend to what's it called, upset any of the people on the panelists, but we're men. and we just talk and talk and enjoy ourselves at the same time. So with that said, say shalom to all the family on the live stream. I was listening in as soon as you started, and I saw you called out my name to maybe come and say a few things. But I actually enjoyed listening to the sisters talking about, you know, what they know and their experiences. I really enjoyed that. I could hear that they were coming from real cultural perspectives and so on and so forth. So I enjoyed that. So I'm really happy for you to be able to carry on with that. My experiences down there in in North Africa, Arabia, is profound, and for me, I always feel like I'm still a 20-year-old, and at the moment I'm just like 50. All right, so we're talking about like 30 years ago. I left Nigeria, and some of you who know where Nigeria is, West Africa, because I was trying to get to Europe. And at the moment, at that time, I didn't have any finance readily that could make me get to Europe. So the question was how to do it. So I had to go by land. And I thought I was going to be the only one traveling by land to cross cross Africa and then come into Europe. But I'd only been out of our own country into the Niger Republic. All right, that's the country just above Nigeria, or on the borders there, if you like, for me to realize that there were thousands of people trying to get out of Africa from as far as Mali to Nigeria, Cameroon, you know, all these countries. People were trying to get out, going that way up. So every time you hear people speaking, they're always saying we're going up. Up just meant going up North Africa and trying to cross the Mediterranean to get into Europe. Nobody really thought they're going to, they're trying to travel to Arabia or trying to travel to sit down in North Africa. Nobody was really looking at it like that. But unfortunately, that's where most of us ended up. So, Brother Kalam, can you still hear me? Am I live yet?
Yep, you're still live. You're still live. We can hear you.
So that's how I got over there initially in the year 1989. In the year 1989. So some of you who are still young today, or who are below my age, just take yourself back at that time and try and imagine what sub-Sahara Africa was like, what the world was like without so-called immediate access to media. Like, you know, you could research where you wanted to go on YouTube today before you go there. That's why members of gang don't want to go Libya, for example, all right? Because they've had a look and they're like, what? I ain't going nowhere. So just putting that in there as a pun. But anyway, I went out there and I found out that it's a whole new world. And I was a young person myself. So getting out there, we strayed into the hands of North Africans who were, you know, a mix of all kinds of things. Berbers, Tuaregs, Negroes, you mean all kinds of black varieties of people, from east to west, from north to south. All right. There's no point really saying it was just black people in the way that maybe some of us understand it. But me as a so-called Negro West African, the more north you go in Africa, the less it starts to look like the Negro African. The less it starts to look like that. And the more it starts to look like what you would consider the typical, you know, that typical look you see when you go, like when you look at Ethiopians, you look at Somalians, you look at Ethiopians, Somalians, Eritreans, or people of that area, Yemen and North Africa. At the point where I got to first, you didn't have so much white, so-called white North Africans. But the further north you went, it became whiter and whiter. All right. So it was almost like even in North Africa, the blacks always live in the south and the whites live in the north. i.e., the North signifying that they are kings over the so-called Africans. You know, and there was so many times that, you know, whenever they catch us, the white Africans always told us they were sending blacks back to Africa. Even though we were all still in Africa physically, they would still say, we're sending you back to Africa. And that was like the funniest thing to me. I'm like, where do these people think they are? We're all still in Africa. So they call us all kinds of names, slaves. You know, they call us all kinds of names and treated us like slaves. So I'm gonna rather take questions from Brother Kalam, because I might just be going where you don't want to listen. So I'd rather take questions if you can, please, brother.
All right. So, Uncle Ty, I would like to know, like, what was the treatment like out there as, you know, a sub-Saharan African, so to speak? Did they literally view you as less than human? Did they racially abuse you guys? Like, what was it? How do you think that they actually perceived you?
Honestly speaking, they viewed us as inferior human beings. In fact, to be honest with you, they viewed us less than human. To be honest with you, they viewed us less than human. And the only way to know, to prove that, is in the things they asked us to do for them. I spend half of my time over there, like digging latrines, digging, you know what a latrine is. You know, I hope some of you know what a latrine is. It's yeah.
Houses. Yeah.
So it was like, you know, where Brother Kalam, you know, want to explain that? So I don't know, because some people might be like, what's that, you know?
A latrine.
Yeah, but a latrine is literally a I'll call it a poop house. Let's call it a poop house or poop shed.
Bless. Thanks for that. Thanks for that. So it's a huge, you know, depending on the family building a house, it's just where all the, you know, all the shit went into, basically. And that's what we would do when those places were full, because none of them wanted to do that job. So the blacks, and basically the blacks from south of the Sahara, because up there in North Africa and the Middle East, they have blacks too. But those blacks are still considered better than the blacks from sub-Sahara Africa. Up to the Horn of Africa there, they have a way of breaking it down. Call it the caste system, if you like. If you like. So we did those kind of jobs. Then another type of job we did, and this is a part of, you know, my story that I didn't like, was, and I don't forget, I'm a victim in this thing myself. Yeah, I got into there and realized that our men could only work those kind of, you know, menial, dirty jobs. And for those of us who had our women with us, our women became sex workers. Sex workers on one level, and on the other level, they became housemaids and sex slaves. So I hope that answers that one there, just in case I'm talking too much.
Yes. Someone asked, how long ago was this?
This was in 1989, and I went back. I came back from my first trip, I think, in let me see, because time goes so fast. So I went out there in 89. So you had 89, 1990. I think I returned around 91, and then I took my cousins there. One more time in 91 or 92, 91/92. So you see, you're looking at between 1989 and 1992.
Okay. And, you know, what would you say this was? Was this to do with racism? Was this to do with xenophobia? Was this to do with religion? Was this to do with culture? What exactly was it to do with that got them viewing you as such?
Wow. You know what? In some history could only be understood in hindsight. from where I am right now. Yeah, because when we were moving, or when I was, let me speak for myself in this case, when I was moving up to North Africa, I had no idea that Africa was split down the lines of white and black and yellow skin and brighter skin and darker skin and all that. I'd only been used to Nigeria in my teenage years. I'd only been used to that. And even in Nigeria, you still had some colorism going on anyway. Yeah. So, but getting up to that area, it didn't hit me. It didn't hit me quickly enough to know what was going on or what names to call it. I don't think I actually saw the name racism while I was down in sub-Sahara Africa as a student, as a teenage schoolboy or anything. It's just something we just don't see. But getting up there, it was becoming apparent that our skin color was a problem for the people who were in the areas of North Africa, even if they were sometimes black. Then the other thing was, it seemed to me that most of us coming from like Nigeria, and Nigeria is a huge population, and some of the countries besides Nigeria and Ghanaians, I should say, Nigeria and Ghanaians were the most people out there at that time. In fact, I would say the Ghanaians were more than the Nigerians, because at that period, their country was going through a kind of rebuilding process. So that a lot of Ghanaians were just running helter-skelter where to go after they'd come out of Nigeria. Nigeria had some issues with Ghana, so they had to leave Nigeria and go into so-called slavery. So look, any Ghanaian who's about my age, who you might find in these countries of Europe today, trust me, bro, at least 1 in 4 of them went through the same thing I'm talking about right now. Some of them just don't want to talk about it. Some of them just don't want to talk about it. So these places now were starting to prove to us that our black skin signified ancient historical slavery, which was ongoing. That slavery was ongoing because, unbeknownst to me, I mean, we'd watch movies as a young person, like, you know, Lawrence of Arabia, Roots and stuff. Yeah. So I'd watch a few movies and I've seen how some black people were taken in chains across the Sahara. Obviously, it was romanticized so that it don't hit you like it's reality. But moving up there, it was becoming reality more and more again. But we were always in denial, because these people were looking at us like we're on the same planet, on the same continent, but at the same time, it was like we're just working. And anybody who knows Nigerians, who knows Ghanaians, we work hard. We are hard workers. We don't complain about nothing. So it didn't come across to us like racism. It just came across to us like, all right, we need a job. These people have opportunities for us, and we're filling those jobs. But their treatment of us was subhuman. Then we started realizing, hold on, this is not just about workers' rights, or, you know, North African and Sub-Saharan African, or white Arab and black Arab and Tuareg and Berber. It was more the case where there was a historical legacy that made white Arabs and some black Arabs view Sub-Saharan black people as slaves in the past, right now, and for the future. That's how they looked at us, brother.
Wow, incredible story. Thank you, Uncle Ty. So what I want to do right now, okay, is I want to move on to the second topic, right? Because I only wanted to spend an hour on each topic, but it seems as though, actually, let me do this, okay? Because I actually want to get Jedi in. Jedi, if you're still in the comment section, let me know if you're willing to come in. And anybody else from Gang, Maku, I see you in the comment section as well, if you guys want to come in. Let me share my screen once more. Okay, this is incredibly enlightening to listen to everybody speak on this topic and the different narratives. So what I would love for you guys to do is type in 1 if you would like us to stick on this topic and not do the second topic of knife crime. If you want us to do the second topic of knife crime, please type in number 2, right? Because I'm ready to do the second topic of knife crime. But if you want to stay on this topic, which means we're going to miss out on doing knife crime, type in 1. All right. So far, number 2 is winning. All right, cool. So, and that being said, that's enough. All right, I'm going to share the link again with you guys, and I want you guys to come in and get involved. Okay, I'm going to open up to the second topic. Banksy, did you have anything to say on this topic before we close out on this topic? Banksy.
Okay, thank you. Well, the only thing I have to say in regards to this treatment, now I don't know the dynamics between North Africans and Sub-Saharan Africans. Seems to be potentially a skin or a skin color issue there. Possibly, I don't know, but I can tell you for sure that in Iran, when we had maids, because Afghanistan was at the time war torn. So we had a lot of refugees from Afghanistan, and all our maids, all our butlers, or not butlers, but like gardeners and people menial labor work, were all Afghans. And to be honest, Iranians had a snobbish attitude towards Afghans. They looked down upon them because they were the ones who did the menial labor jobs, kind of like the Mexicans of America. So it wasn't a racial thing. Hey, Betty, it wasn't so much of a racial thing than a class thing. We were snobs and they were the menial workers. And so we had this kind of snobbish relationship with them, but it wasn't racist and they weren't slaves. Nobody took anybody's passport. They were just menial labor workers because they were refugees, and we were the upper class that hired them as our servants. That's the relationship that I saw. But I don't know how North Africans see Sub-Saharan Africans in that context. Although I can understand now Shakarai's apprehension when he was talking about the African Union and the Pan-African concepts, why he had huge apprehensions about having North African nations join this Pan-African sort of group, because I think he is right. I don't think North Africans think of themselves the same as Sub-Saharan Africans or Black Africans. I think they have a slightly snobbish attitude towards Sub-Saharan Africans, but that's the impression I get. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you. All right. So again, we've just been talking about this issue concerning, a woman who's been jailed for filming her housemate as she cried for help before falling from a 7th-floor balcony as she tried to flee her apartment in Kuwait. This was the story that spurred this conversation today. It was published by, Julian Robinson for the Mail Online at 1 o'clock today, 2nd of October. So we're just discussing that and everything that's associated with it as well. So if you want to read that particular article, you can find it there. Again, the oil-rich Gulf state is home to more than 600,000 domestic helpers, right? These are helpers. There are far more other, economic migrants in the area than that, but that's been recorded, 600,000 domestic helpers, a majority of them Asians, many of whom complain of abuse, mistreatment, and non-payment of wages. Okay, so this is what's going on currently in the Middle East. So we've also played a few videos, so please go back and rewatch this video if you haven't already seen what we've been discussing. I'm currently going to go on to the second topic, all right? And the second topic is actually spurred on today because, again, Mail Online, all right, published this at 7 o'clock today, and this was from Rod Ard E. Halley, okay, for the Mail Online. And for us, I believe this took place roughly around 6 p.m. today, where there was a lot of, frantic, scared commuters. Yeah, just after 6 p.m. today. Okay, a lot of frantic, scared commuters were running off the train, running off the overground station. Witnesses saw a man, wielding a knife. I believe he was arrested, and another man who was running away from him, who was stabbed in the chest as well. So we want to move on and talk about knife crime. So what I want to do before we move on to speak on knife crime, I want to invite new people onto the platform right now, so we can have a new, a nice, burst of energy who can speak on this topic. So I definitely want to get gang members to come in. That's GANG, guiding a new generation, to jump on. So if I can get a few of you guys to just jump off and come back in a little bit later on. So if I can get a few of you guys to just jump off, okay? Come on, family, just jump off.
Brother Kalam, sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I should shoot off, and yeah. I'm don't forget I'm running a little show as well, so I just want to shoot off. And can I just say one last piece?
Go ahead, please do.
Right, I just wanted to say also, first,
What's good, Uncle? You good, yeah?
All right, okay, just mute your mic. Let me finish. I beg you, brother. Yeah, I just wanted to say, also over there, many of us who go out there, we always think even if we told those people that we're Muslim, they might just treat us better. And many of us try to like become Muslim at that point, but the treatment still didn't change. I just wanted to put that in there and then say thanks to Brother Kalam and to everybody on the show. I myself will make space for people right now.
Thank you. Shalom, shalom. All right. Can I get, again, you guys just to jump off who has jumped on. We are going to be speaking on knife crime or knife culture in the UK. Again, we are, crying out for gang members to come in. This is your topic. This is something that you guys are very passionate about, speak heavily upon, and I would love to get your guys' voices heard.
Yo, Kalam.
306. Yeah, please do leave. Come back.
What about? I'm from London. I do knife crime sometimes. Back.
All right. So yeah, we've got over 360 people tuned in right now, and I would love for you guys to come in and give us your views. Okay. So let me just.
Yo, Kalam. I got a knife though. I got a knife in there, innit? Can I talk on it?
What?
All right, Jesma. Please come again, Jesma.
No worries. Sorry.
Okay, peace. All right, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there is room on here. All right, so again, I'm calling out to you guys who are very passionate about gang crimes, gang culture, street crime, street culture, to come on. We are going to be discussing knife crime. Okay, we are going to be discussing knife crime. So the link has been sent out. It is right there. It's in the comment section. We're waiting for you guys to get it on. As we're waiting, I want to make sure that everybody on this panel is and will be speaking on knife crime. Okay. So as we're waiting, Betty, can I get you to come on in? I think that this is one of your passions as well. So if I can get you just to get it for us.
Yeah, I think it's really. What's it that you want me to say? The only thing I want to say is a really important subject. Obviously, the black community, it really affects black people. And obviously, growing up in Moss Side, there was a big problem in Moss Side and the surrounding areas when many young black boys being groomed into gangs, and many of them didn't survive. Many of them went out in a body bag. Many of them didn't hit 16. Some of them left children. So it is, important. And some of them, their murders were never solved. I know people to this day that have never seen their fathers, and they've never.
Hi, Betty.
Solved.
You feel like you're I bet you don't get too wet, yeah? I'm here.
Okay, all right, Jedi.
Happy Nigerians Independence Day, Jedi.
Let me get you guys all to mute your mics. So everybody on the panel, please keep your mics muted at all times. And again, just to reiterate the rules of Titans TV, please keep your mics muted at all times. Second rule, respect your fellow when they're speaking, please do not speak. And third rule, please, no profanity or ad hominems, as we don't want the show to descend into any chaos or madness. So after Betty speaks, I'm going to get Jedi to come in, and I'll open up the panel after that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say, because I remember when I grew up, I had a friend that mother died really young, about 10, and you know, her little brother brought a gun home at the age of 11, and that was a time where there was gun crime in Moss Side. So obviously she was afraid and stuff like that, and obviously ended up in prison and stuff like that. So it is really important to me. But these drug dealers, they look for the children that don't have fathers, who come from broken homes, and they'll offer you a small 20, 10 to carry some drugs, and you know, it goes from there. So that's why it's really important to speak about it.
Okay, thank you. All right, Jedi, can I get you to come in? So just need you to unmute your mic. So we've been speaking about knife crime, the issues that are going on. What is it that's going on in the UK today that has, you know, a man, you know, on rush hour traffic, 6 p.m., just after 6 p.m., you know, literally broad daylight at a train station or on a train, I'm not too sure, and wielding a knife amongst commuters and stabbing a man in his chest.
Kalam.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, sorry, brother. I need to ask, did you invite me on the show?
Yeah.
Am I a guest?
Yeah.
So I can fucking say what the fuck I like then about no profanity. Why?
Because you are a panel member on a show.
No.
Ready,
bro, you invited me on. I said, am I a guest? I said, yeah. Now I'm a panel member. Invite me on as a guest. If you want gang as their expertise and you're putting in so many requests, invite me on and let me speak how I want to speak. The same way you let the Chinese man speak how he wants to speak. Holler at me when I'm a guest then, innit?
All right.
I'm prepared to talk, but just let me be me, innit?
All right.
And
so
you
the
said
next
everyone
time
jump
we do
off.
a
Why
show,
is Betty still there? If you've asked everyone to jump off, why is Betty still hanging about?
No. All right. So the
Come on,
next
bro.
time we do a show that is concentrated on gang and concentrate on whichever topic that you want to discuss, then you'll be able to use whatever language.
Excellent. Thank you, man. I appreciate that, man.
Do you want to stay
so what
on?
is it about knife crime what is it about knife crime that's kind of got you interested tonight? What is it?
So tonight we're discussing knife crime. This is spurred on based upon the reports of a knife man causing terror amongst you know, in East London, in Hackney Central Station, commuter stabbing a man in his chest. So we want to speak on knife crime. Why is it so prevalent in the UK, in London specifically, and also, yeah, like the psychology, the mind behind it, and how can we solve this problem?
When you say prevalent, you mean like, because obviously people get stabbed all over the world, isn't it? I don't know if the numbers are higher here than anywhere else in the world. Is that what you're insinuating? Have you got the numbers there?
No, I'm simply saying that what is going on in London. Like,
yeah, but why London? Because in Birmingham, people. The point I'm trying to say is, we know the highest crime of knife crime was actually in Scotland until they reduced it. So I'm saying it's not really like London is a flagship area for knife crime. The whole world is descended into acts of youth violence because the youth are looking for an outlet. They're definitely desperate. They're scared of each other. The news articles, the music, even their food and their diet, their very environment is weaponized against them. Plus, if we're talking about those in a community that identify themselves as black, they've got even more social pressures. I mean, to be honest, man, it's very frustrating being a black man out here, man. You get labeled aggressive, intimidating, even when talking to people. So like, it leaves people feeling like they've got no real remit to express themselves. Not everyone's as articulate as you. You know, you got a nice show. You can speak to like a couple hundred people a day. Some people, they literally, if they're not on roads, when they're in their house, they got no one to chat to. And I think all this frustration, plus all the other factors I mentioned, are the reasons why you're seeing knife crime. But I feel like if it weren't knives, it'd be bottle crime, stick crime. People be getting beaten up. Like, I mean, violence is what the issue is, and the knife is just a tool. You know what I mean? Without the guns, I mean, when they took away the guns with the Dunblane crisis and pistols and that were outlawed, before that, I reckon we would have been to the point where it would have been more shooting incidences. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Definitely. So I want to open this up to the panel members that are here right now. I want to go to Vegeta first, then Ricky, then Ali. So Vegeta, I want to know, what are the factors that actually influence you to carry a knife or to be involved in street violence or knife crime?
Bro, are you saying I carry a knife? I said I didn't say that, blood. What's your question?
Okay, so earlier on you said that you can literally benefit this conversation. So what are the factors that are causing other people then to carry a knife, to be involved in street violence and knife crime?
Yeah, nowadays you got 5-year-olds playing Grand Theft Auto on the PlayStation that thinking violence is okay. You know what I mean? Little toddlers, bro. You know, all this sort of crazy stuff going on, blood. You get me? I think 5-year-olds shouldn't be, playing PlayStation games at that age. It's age range for reasons. You know what I'm saying? Like, some of these games are a bit too realistic as well, man. Like, you should. And some of these 5-year-olds are smoking some blunts and then playing the game, which makes it even more. You know what I mean? They get more involved. You get me? They're not ready for it, blood.
All right, thank you. All right, I'm going to move on. So basically, what we're learning from that is it's also to do with the games. What do we call that? Recreational sports or games that the children are playing. Is to do with the family members that are not actually parenting or guiding the children, as well as drug abuse as well. Okay, so these are other factors that are made mention. Ricky, talk to us. What else?
I disagree with what my man just said. When I was a youth, when I was 15, that's 30 years ago, we used to run up the street, juke man left, right, and center. When I was 15, my uncle, who's 15 years older than me, used to run up the street, juke man left, right, and center. They're doing it today. My little cousin come to visit me the other day. Man get locked up. I think he get 2 years because I'm juking man in London right now. I mean, I'm a big man now. Just 3 days ago, I had to walk up on the road with knife. I had to carry knife because we got into some rumble with some other man's them. So listen, it's not about no video game. My uncle had no video game. Video game just invent when I start carrying tool and shit when I was a youngster. So that's some silliness. Man just joke up because man's nature is aggressive. Man's nature is aggressive. The problem is society is trying to take away our evolution. It's our evolution. When man's going to disco and there's gal there, man become primal. You know what I mean? You go to your lizard part of your brain, and it's might is right. That's what it's coming down to. It's not about no games, man.
Yeah, that's some real shit, man.
Straight real shit. That's all it is.
All right.
The games do help normalize that level of violence, though. 100%. You can't deny that. Even though I would agree with you in terms of violence has been a permanent factor of youth culture, especially growing up in the UK. I mean, violence is there everywhere, but it's been more normalized with the music being nothing but. I mean, at least 10 times you had Tutu reggae to go home and listen to. If you go to a disco, at least in a disco, they might play Tutu soul. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, at least you get a slight balance. Right about now, everything is all one-sided. You know what I mean? The games is violent. The music is violent. The news is violent. Our governments are violent. So, yeah, man, I agree with you, but I just feel like we can't deny the impact of these games and stuff, because they're giving it to the youths to play for a reason. They make it bright and colourful. Grand Theft Auto is one of the most popular games for a reason. Yeah.
All right, let me get Ali on as well. Ali, can you hear me? Ali, can you hear me? Ali Jihad, can you hear me? All right. Well, unfortunately, we can't hear you. If you're speaking, we can't actually hear you at present. Family members, all right, I can see you lot flooding in the comment section with some questions. what I'd love for you guys to do whilst flooding in the comment section is to drop us some like buttons. Okay, we've got over 400 people tuned in right now. So if you can hit the like button or the share button, let everybody know that we're live right now on Titans TV, and it's really heating up. It's really getting interested. Hopefully, we can reach out to a lot of people that are being affected by violence, knife crime, and everything else. So let's get back into this now. So again, please hit up the like button. Somebody has a question here. It says here, how much does the presence of a nuclear family play in the reduction of knife crime in the Black community? Anybody want to answer that?
Minimal.
I
But
think
it's
that's
still
really important.
will play. I don't think people are stabbing each other because they don't have one parent or the other. But I do think that it's an important factor that will help give more children a chance of not falling into that. Hopefully, if they've got the right role models to steer them away from the knife crime and that kind of violence. And basically, I feel like parents are always going to be the best option. Having both parents is going to be the best option. Then having both parents that are responsible and both parents that are aware of what goes on, because a lot of stuff that happens is, some of these kids are like first, second generation, and their parents are not as in touch with what goes on out on the roads per se as they could be. I feel like parents educating themselves about what the dangers are and what the kids are actually facing in 2018 is going to be the best tool. So whether you got one parent, two parent, no parents, any support system around them has to be well versed in exactly what's going on. You can't try and deal with 2018 issues with 1970s ethos. It's not going to work.
I know people who come from what people consider a good family, and they become the worst bad man I ever done met. And I know people who come from proper busted, broken families. Yeah, they were roadman. But I'm a man from Golders Hill. I used to run with this Jewish boy back in the day, from a good family, rich off Jew family. Even one of the baddest roadmen I ever done know. So I don't think family really got too much to really play in that. I mean, I'm
the
with Jedi on
exception,
that.
man. That's the exception, not the rule, though.
Yeah, if you look at the people that are actually convicted, the people that end up in jail, you will find out that the majority of men that are in jail come from single parents backgrounds, and normally the single parents is. Can you let me speak, please?
It's not true.
And also, the single parent tends to be a mother. So this idea that a father is very important in a child's life, especially in a male's life as well. And what you find with the people that groom these children, they will look for the child that doesn't have the father around.
Okay.
And they will be a father to your child.
Who gets groomed to stab someone? What do you mean by groomed?
We're
not talking about grooming, we're talking about knife crime.
Can you actually moderate, please, Titan? Because he's actually interrupting me.
So, real quickly. So again, family, I want to make sure that we get everybody's voices in on this one.
Yeah, but didn't you just have her voice on the last panel? You told everyone to jump off. Why is she here? She's not relevant to this story at all. Trust me. She's not relevant.
I am relevant. You're just not happy.
You can't give
You're
no
not
2
happy.
minutes.
You're not happy because
You
you know
don't
I'm going to start.
You have
I'm going
no
to start
clue.
asking you about how you got groomed.
You can. You can talk to me if you wanna. If you wanna have an intelligent conversation, you can. But you won't last long, Betty. We all know this.
I will last long. I will last longer than what you will last.
You won't, Betty, man.
Yes, I will. Yes, I will.
Again, mute your mics, family. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to start muting everybody's mics, and that's gonna be long, or turning down your mics. All right. So I see we haven't had everybody's voices heard so far. So I want to make sure we get Ali, Fear, Luna, Raz. I want to hear your voices on this. So Ali, are you available? Nope. All right. Fear. Ali, are you available? Yes or no? Can't hear your voice. All right. Baba Dule or Fear, talk to me.
Yo, yeah. I'll just say that it's media in general that, I mean, everyone, a lot of people grow up on the States, yeah. And when we're little, we'll start off in school, playing tag and all these type of games, with each other, football, 4 goals, all those type of stuff. But as soon as certain men start, I've noticed that when I got back from Jamaica, I noticed the whole thing changed. When certain games came out, that's why I was bringing it to the games as well, Warriors and San Andreas, and everyone's mind changed. I mean, we went from playing hard and those things to playing more rough, you know what I mean? And clicking up, and the next minute this lot is in this side and they don't mess with that side of the estate, and you know what I mean, and we'll make up any excuse to. So it was really we're just trying to imitate the stuff that we were seeing. So I think, especially over here in London, that we're very we like, or what's the word? I don't even know what we like to imitate, like whether it be the Americans or whatnot, like the gangster stuff, the stuff we see in films in it, other than us, because even we got our English film, our English gangster stuff as well. So we can't just blame it like it's seeming like, oh yeah, it's just some black and black thing. But yeah, as you said with Scotland and all that, these that have been doing it before we came over here. I mean, they had their gangs and they're well with the knives, and knife crime has been high over here for a long time. So now that we're over here now, it's like they want to put the limelight on us more. But I don't know, man. I just think it starts off as fun, but when certain people lose their friends and that, they take it on as life now, you know, and they want to be defending this thing, and so it makes it carry on once it gets serious. But I think it all just starts off as wanting to have fun in that, and then when the major things happen, that's when people start saying, yeah, you know, I'm just gonna actually live like this. And by the time they get to an older age, they're just so cold. It's like they're just willing to just let the younger lot do it as well. Like some people were willing, some others, like the gang and lot, they don't want to change it, you know what I mean? But there's some elders that don't, and they'll just be cold and be willing to make these younger lot carry it on, that because they're just so cold and they've lost people, and it's like they want to carry it on. I don't know, man. It's fucked up though.
100%. That's definitely like something that we've experienced personally, like being out on ground level. When you're talking to some of these youngsters, you go into some of these troubled areas, and you try and like understand the psychology of what all this back and forth thing is about the era. Because I can understand if you don't like someone, they don't like you, and you have an actual genuine issue with them, yeah. But most of these people, they don't really even know they're supposed enemies. It's just that they're from another area that they've. It's like some contract. We have to be in beef with you, and then anybody from that area, like these people are really like they got no awareness of you know, life. The life costs so little to them. It's cheap to them. They don't really have that same value of life. Like whereas I feel like growing up, even though people were stabbing each other, you know, man would try to. I know it sounds weird, but man would try to stab you somewhere where you're not gonna, not even because they don't want to kill you, because they don't want to end up and throw their whole life away for something that was so irrelevant. But somewhere down the line, the value for life has been lessened, and I do believe that this is where the things like the brother, I can't remember his name, was talking about like computer games and shit like that. This is where it actually comes into play. You get me? The value for life. And I think that I don't think that's just roadman or these gangsters. I think most of us value life a little less because violence is, we become desensitized to violence.
Desensitized.
And to,
that's the word, man.
To death. Yeah.
All right. Let me get Ali on. So Ali, are you there? Well, I did hear you earlier on, but speak again. You sound like you're very far away. So the mic.
I'm just talking to the computer. I ain't got an actual mic. Can you hear me now?
Yep, you're very low though. So go ahead, just quickly speak because you're very, very low.
Well, I received a phone call last week from some kid, and he goes to me.
I can't hear him at all.
Yeah, there you go. That sounds louder. Speak there. Wherever you're just speaking from, speak there.
Is that better? Is that better?
Yeah, go on.
Is that better?
Yeah, much better.
Is that better? Can you hear me now?
Awesome. Great. Go on.
Okay. My apologies. I had the sticker on the mic. All right. So basically, first and foremost, congratulations to GANG for reaching that 1 year mark. That was great stuff that you guys doing out there. Good stuff that you guys are. They're very motivational and inspirational, I must say. I received a phone call last week from some youth, and he told me that his friend, actually they lived in London, so his mother moved him out. They're not too far from Luton and them sides to get him out of the madness. And then he's ringing me last week telling me that his friend got hacked to death. Not only did the kids, the other crew stab him up, once they stabbed him up and he was on the floor, another car now must have pulled up and some other madness happened. Anyway, they left him for dead. So this youth's ringing me now, asking me, he was concerned that the police might feel that he was involved in some sort of way. So he was just calling me for some advice. And the first thing he said to me is like, "It's the music. It's the music." That's what he was saying to me. And this was like the day or 2 days after the situation happened. So I think definitely the music does play a role in it. But I think what we need to do is, you know, look at other parts of the world where these problems are not really that prevalent. You understand? There's societies living on this earth where the kids aren't going around killing each other in this way. You know, I spend a lot of time in the Far East, and that stuff's not going on over there. I'm not trying to bring it into religionist talk or anything like that, because that's a Buddhist country, but even I spend time in the Middle East and the kids aren't killing each other in the same way in them countries. So it seems like it's something to do with this Western lifestyle. And I just want to add one more thing into the mix. I think that what people are underestimating as well, something that I'm starting to see now, just getting involved in, you know, this Google Hangout thing and being a regular speaker's corner as well, is that this social media thing, you know, it also fuels anger and resentment amongst people, even adults. Do you understand? There's even adults on this panel right now that maybe don't like each other because of what's been said on social media or what messages have been put up. So us as adults, we sometimes even find it difficult to keep our emotions in check over this social media thing. So imagine how it is for the kids now, the ones that are smoking this high-grade punk, listening to this music, and then they're getting involved in social media as well. Before, if you heard a man was talking about you, you was going to put it on him just because you heard from someone else that he said such and such about you. Now, they'll record it and they'll put it on social media, the whole world to see how you've been violated. So them kids now, they watch the violation on the screen, smoking some of that grade, listening to that music. Of course they're gonna react. Do you understand? And I think as adults, you know, we need to be trying to set an example, you know, and whether we like it or not, even this little platform that we're on of Google Hangout and the social media thing, there may be kids watching us. So how are we as adults getting into the social media beef? Do you understand? And then at the same time, we're saying, how can we help the kids? Do you understand? We need to set by example. So I'm just giving that message to myself firstly and to everybody out there, because I feel that social media side sometimes is not something that's mentioned as much, and I feel that it's quite prevalent in why people go and act and do things. Because remember, if you see something on YouTube or on a video or you hear something, you can play that to yourself 10 or 20 times. You know, and that can be like embedded in your mind, that violation. And that will definitely get you to react. Whereas before, if someone said something about you, you might even forget about it. So yeah, that's just my point. Did anybody
Definitely.
hear me?
Sorry about the wait. Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah, definitely. Thank you for that. That is a very key element. I believe also even the police commissioner kind of came to that same conclusion as well, that social media is actually fueling a lot of the crazy madness that's going on. Of course, the music as well. All of these, how can I put it? These are periphery issues that are fueling a lot of the problems. As the brother quite rightly said, you know, one violation that happened, you know, could have easily been forgotten about. It only, you know, appeared in the minds of those people that were present. But now social media, you can get, you know, tens of hundreds of thousands of views of people watching this one violation, you know, friends, family members, whoever else are watching this violation. And now everybody else feels that as though we need to ride out for your own, you know, respect or whatever the case is. So yeah, you're quite right. And it gets really, really bad. But I still think that's not actually the real reason. I think, you know, in my own personal diagnosis of the situation, these are things that are, how can I put it, you know, on the boundaries or the peripheries that is impacting and affecting the youth and other people as well to commit these violent acts. I think deeper down is actually to do something that Jedi mentioned earlier on, is to do with our value system. Okay, our value system. It seems as though that we have vacant esteem, meaning that we ourselves do not have any esteem for ourselves. We don't find any value or worth for our own selves. We usually have a very fatalistic outlook on life, meaning that, you know, most of us don't make it past the age of 30. Meaning that, you know, most your mic. Yeah, most of us don't make it 20, 30 years of age, or that we're going to be living in prison, or we're going to be, in prison, or we're going to die. So that's literally how we view life. We don't have any prospects other than that. Like, we're just literally stuck in a rut. And as well, we have little or no value for people that look like us. We have no value for people who are our peers. Okay, so if we look at ourselves in a form of hatred or no value and no worth, and we now look at others in that way as well, it's nothing for us to take up a knife, take up a gun, take up a bottle, take up a bat, take up a gun, take up whatever it is, our fist, to now pummel that individual or hack away that individual or take away that individual's life. And we don't even care about the repercussions, as though we're going to be, a victim of a revenge attack or revenge killing, or even being sent to jail as well. So I think the very first thing, that if we really wanted to solve the problem, is actually, how can I put it, solve this issue of self-esteem, solve this issue of having literally no esteem. But let me open it up. What do you guys have to say on that?
Yeah, can I jump in?
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I literally come on the panel to say what you said, but you just beat me to it. But yeah, no, 100%, and even to the point where I think you see a lot of, like, I'm black growing up in England. There's a lot of times, I don't know if you're black, you know what I mean, but like maybe the first time you ever get into a fight with, like, let's say a white kid or something, or kid from another ethnicity, there's this opinion that because you're black, you should be tougher or stronger or more gangster, or there's something more you should do. And it's always embellished, even when it comes to like stuff like not snitching and whatever. Like, when it comes to self-esteem, we have the lowest, and then when it comes to the media projecting all like negative aspects of the human condition, we like imbibe all of those traits to the point where, like, a bad example, or an example, but it's not a great one to say, but like, even when kids, if you grew up in like the early noughties or whatever, there was a lot of street robberies at the time, and I remember there was times where, like, if I wasn't on bail or something, it'd be okay to go rob a grown-ass man somewhere. But if it was like, oh, I'm in trouble with the police and I don't want to be in trouble with police for this little period, then robbing black kids was okay, because one, they won't snitch, two, they know the deal, and now times have changed somewhat. Policing's a little bit more stringent than it was at the time, but there's still, every era seems to adopt the same principles, which is black people have a lower value in society, so it's easier to trouble them. And all kids are violent, all kids have angst, and all kids are going to express themselves violently in some respect. But I think when it comes to the black community, the reason that it's so focused upon, because it is, remember, there's violence in everyone, it's not exclusive to us, but the majority of criminality or criminals, I mean, we're a low demographic in the country, so the majority is other races, right? Or the predominant other race, which is white people. But the reason that with black people it's so focused upon is because we value ourselves lower than everybody else, so it's always more extreme amongst each other. Like, I'm black, it's more likely if I was stabbed tomorrow, I'm grown, like, I'm not involved in what I used to be in, but it's more likely tomorrow that if I'm randomly stabbed, it's probably going to be a black person that does it. And the reason being is because, or if I'm on a train and I get a dirty look tomorrow, it's more likely, even though we supposedly live in a racist country, so on and so forth, it's more likely that it's going to be from another black man. And that's because he hates himself, and he sees me, and I'm a representation of himself, and he hates me, and then I'm angry too with just life. So then we hate each other, or you're getting money, I'm getting money. People will say it's because rival territories, but there's enough crackheads for everybody to make money. The reality is you just hate yourself, and I look like you and I act like you, and we're probably the same in a lot of things, or in a lot of ways we live our life. And because everyone in the world tells you to aspire to not be like yourself, then even the smallest thing between me and that person turns into a mountain. Whereas there's so many L's you take daily from people that don't look like you that you let slide. But if it was another black guy, I'll do this guy this, or I'll do whatever. So 1 million%, to be honest, I think that's it is more nuanced. There are more points, but I think that is the main point, which is throughout the world there is an anti-black agenda, and we have the lowest value of all humanity. They pretend people pretend that the world started in Africa, but that's not how they really believe. They believe it almost as if we're relics or we're antiquated, and everything about us is we're over sexualized, we're over like the initial example I used about a young black kid. If a white kid and a black kid had a fight, the reality is, irrespective of size, you look at that black kid like he should be stronger than this. You know what I mean? Whereas why? We're all human beings. Who knows what how the other people train or whatever, but in boxing, in all sports, we're meant to be better, faster, stronger, bigger. So I think it's the value that's placed, and it's the attributes. What's attributed and ascribed to black people is always pejorative or negative. And we feel that, and all these kids feel that. People think they're not intelligent. They are. They know they're less they're less corrupted than us. So the pure ideas that the media portrays, they understand it better than we do. We have things to rationalize what we see. We know when they're trying to trick us. But when all this kid sees is white woman's pretty, white woman's beautiful, white woman has long hair, black girl has no hair, whatever. He's gonna grow up thinking that a white girl that's a 5 is better looking than, do you know what I mean, a black girl that's a 5. And then it goes through through so many stages of self-hate, hating his community, hating people that look like him. People will say fuck man's mum after they've stabbed this kid to death, when the kid comes from an identical family to him. Man will say fuck his funeral, fuck his, when it's sorry. But when it's exactly like that, when it's exactly like their own, that's not just their doing. That's a message that's been sent through hundreds of years at this point. And that's why these kids are killing each other.
That's right. Can I get you to hold on to that? Family, okay, we need some more space on here. There's a lot of people that's trying to get back in. Jedi's trying to get back in, and new voices need to be heard. So I'm going to ask Unknown, do you have anything else to contribute to this?
I'm going to say one thing, I'm going to drop out, I feel like just everyone ponder a bit more on what the point that the sister made about the household thing and marriage and etc. Because wedlock, being born out of wedlock, and divorce, etc., is, I feel, one of the absolute main contributors to a family becoming corrupt, and the child consequently becoming corrupt, and then it just affects his whole lifestyle. I feel everyone just ponder on that and, get married, man. Respect. I'm gone.
Thank you, my brother. All right, that's a very strong point indeed. All right, although it doesn't help if both individuals, mother and father, have corrupted value systems as well, because you're still breeding a corrupted child based upon that. All right,
Kalam.
Yep, go ahead.
Technically, statistically, black people. Oh, sorry, I've got two sounds. Let me just mute this thing. Black people are in married relationship. More black people are born and raised in 2-parent households than non-blacks. Statistically, that's the truth. So it's kind of a fallacy that all these black people are running around in single-parent households, even though there's a denseness of that in certain populations that we live in. On a whole, it's not true. You can verify if I'm chatting shit.
I think I think everybody's not really touching on the problem. The problem is, this is orchestrated. It's a planned event. Nothing happens by chance, especially in Western democracies. This has been planned. And like when the brother was talking about, mother F's and all that stuff, people don't understand the origin of why black people say, basically, fuckers, blah blah blah, to each other. This is an orchestrated event in history, and everybody is talking about the symptom, and trying to cure the symptom, but nobody's going to the root. The root is Western ideology and its fundamentals. That has created us. And when people say black people are supposed to be stronger and faster, if you're Afro-Caribbean or American, more than likely you probably are going to be, because you've been bred for several hundred years to be exactly that. Yes, you need to actually look at what's been done physically, mentally, and psychologically to any group of people around the world, and go to the root and stop looking at the branches. I'm gonna drop out now. That's what I'm gonna say.
All right, thank you. Powerful message right there. All right, so we've got Buddha that's been waiting as well, and I'm gonna get Raz to come in afterwards. So go ahead, Buddha.
Yes. All right. Look, I want to try and drop a different dynamic to this as well. A couple of things. Materialism. Materialism plays a big part in this. Yeah. So I'm a little bit older than some of the people on this chat. So I'm going to draw back from my experience from when I was younger. All right. So when you're in school, when you're amongst your peers, you'd look at their trainers and say, right, this guy's got a wicked pair of Nike Air Max or a pair of Nike Jordans or whatever, and I'm busting high tech. It don't look good. You feel demeaned. You feel demasculated. This is materialism at its best. So you will want to do whatever you need to do to get a pair of these trainers, just so you can have some sort of structure, some sort of pull within your peer group. Okay, cool. The other thing is this. Look, when I was younger, growing up, as funny as it may sound, we had inspirational people such as Muhammad Ali and Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan and all of these guys, and everyone wanted to hit the gym and become a taekwondo master or a kickboxer or a boxer or something. I'm talking about the Lloyd Honeygans of this world and the Frank Brunos of their day, the Mike Tysons. Not so much now. That doesn't really happen now. I think the rap artists and the drill artists, they're more of what people aspire to, the younger people aspire to be like. But those two things I think are the key thing. I think when it comes to knife crime, not being able to fight. I mean, look, you know, we've all had a past. I've had definitely a very colourful past, and fighting was a normal standard thing. It's what we do. We're human beings. We're men full of testosterone. We like boxing. We like going to the football, not even watching the football, but having to tear up after the football. We go to the pub, drink, fight. This is what men do, unfortunately. As silly as it may sound, but it's within our blood. It's within our DNA. And if you can't fight, the next best thing is to grab a knife and settle it. I think Jedi asked me a question earlier on, and he goes to me, what would you do if you was in a bar and Andy Joshua came in and grabbed up your girl's behind? What could you do in that scenario? What could you do? So I think the leveler was always pick up a gun or pick up a knife. Unfortunately, I'll say fortunately, not a lot of people have access to guns these days. Even more so earlier on back in the day. So the next best thing is grab a knife, readily available. You'll back your corner, you'll back your ends, you'll back your talk. You'll pull a knife and do it that way.
Right. So earlier on, somebody asked the question, right? Ask, is it to do with money or is it to do with ego? Okay. Is it to do with money or is it to do with ego? I've spoken to the youngers myself, and you know, a few of them have told me that it has absolutely nothing to do with money. All right. They simply want to make a name for themselves. They simply want to be at the top of the leaderboard. They simply want to be, you know, known as the person who's got the most, you know, I'll use your word, jokes, or chef up the most man them. So let me know, family, is it to do with money or is it to do with egotistical reasons?
Yes. I don't think it's as much money as it used to be. People used to fight over money, and beef used to be about money and territory. Like, you know, that used to be the old cliche, you know, they're fighting over drug territory and that. But now, I just feel like it's just territory now, not even about money. It's just about area. It's just about status. So yeah, it's mainly ego and territory. I don't think it's so much to do with money anymore. You know what I mean?
Yo, can I say something?
Roger.
Yo, so basically, I was listening to you guys for a while, and then you guys failed to mention the feminization of schoolboys in the schools. So, you know, these boys aren't allowed to actually express themselves in the way that is more constructive. So you have a situation where in the schools, all these boys are sitting in class, 6 hours a day, they're not allowed to move, they're not allowed to talk, they're not allowed to socialize. They're stuck in a place, and when they misbehave, instead of understanding that these boys are going through their puberty and they're having all these hormones and testosterone's pumping through the body, yeah, they give them harsh punishment, and they make them feel as if they are what they're doing is super wrong, and it's unnatural, and all of these things contribute to the climate to which they are right now, that they need to express their manhood or their masculinity in a more aggressive way, because in schools they're put in a place where they have to conform to the regulations. I understand that, I understand that teachers need to do their job and teach, but it's getting too much. Some of these kids are also getting pumped with all these drugs like Ritalin. They're getting pumped with all these different things because the teachers just don't want to deal with it over an agitated kid. For example, I'm young, yeah, but I was privileged enough to go to a Catholic school, yeah, and they were all the school was all taught by men. So I grew up, yeah. If I was a weak kid, yeah, I'll be the one getting picked on. But I developed the traits to help me go through that. But I feel like with all these female teachers in the schools, yeah, and all these boys that
Oh,
these
I
female
see.
teachers
You're in trouble.
don't know how to deal
You're
with
in
these
trouble.
boys, yeah. They are putting
Let's
them in a
try.
position where they are very are sort of emasculating them, at a young age, and they need to express themselves.
All right. Thank you, Raz. I'm going to get,
Can
I
I,
see a few people that want to jump in
can
on
I say
this real
something?
quickly. Yep. Go ahead, James.
I was gonna say, so another aspect of it, obviously, what you was asking earlier about whether it's about money or not, yeah. I think, there was a guy who spoke earlier, and to relate it back to the initial point, I think, it's obviously, like if you take an example of like in the jails or whatever in London or wherever there's like, so mainly in the city like London prisons where there's a lot of black youth or whatever, yeah, they're stabbing each other all the time, or there's fights constantly just because it's fun and they're bored. You know what I'm saying? And I think there's a lot of that in the streets as well, especially when you see it with the younger generation where there isn't that much money in the crime they're doing anyway because they're not that smart yet, or like they'll be making money relative to their age, but not large sums of money, not like, let's say, organized criminals. For them, it's fun because they're bored. And like the guy was saying earlier about, young men and testosterone. Yeah, there's violence in every community in the world, because with black people that there's so much of a projection in the media now of extreme violence anyway with regards to us, be it all these slave movies, be it whatever, like of our life value is low, the way we see ourselves and everyone else is low. So where for two man they talk about straighteners and that, or you always see on these clip videos, man have a fight and shake hands. If you use an example like the jails and that, people are bored, like people are really saying to each other like, hey, let's make these two fight, and then after those two fight, one of them win or lose or something, it's like, oh, that wasn't even enough, that's boring. Oh, I'm gonna chef this shoot, I'm gonna do this to this guy, just to get it jumping, bro, because this is all boring and that. And you see that in the streets as well, bro. Gang fighting is fun. If you're not the one that gets touched up, it's fun, bro. It's fun running around pretending like it's the Wild West. It's fun doing that. It's fun running from police. All these criminal activities, people always put it down to people having a lack of intelligence. But if you experience it, it's fun. You want to do it again the next day. You want to be involved in it. You don't want to be 30 and broken on the roads or whatever. But when you're 18, 19, 20, or when you're 17, looking up to people that are running around with guns and knives, that's the it crowd. That's the in thing you want to be a part of. And they make it look like for a black person, you have to be part of that. If you're a black dude and you get slapped up by a kid that's a neek, it's like, but you're black, bro. You should be a gangster, bro. You should have done X, or you got a big brother. He should be on this. That's why a lot of kids are involved in what it's not like the person that come out of the thing said it the best. It's like, it's deeper than that. There's an industry there's a lot of wealth, yeah, that is invested in the way we look at each other and the way we look at ourselves, yeah. So it's not as simple as like it's over money or it's over territory or it's that, because that's an excuse you're gonna have to give, because that's what you're gonna rationalize that I woke up in the morning, I feel fucking angry, and this is fucking good. This is fun. This is,
And also, just to add on that real quickly, people don't realize that it's not just black boys on the roads. It's also people from other ethnicity, and I don't see the same representation on that stand as well. You know, it's not just black people, black kids killing themselves on the
yeah,
street.
because that's what I'm saying. They're invested in us.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And the same way in let's say like in America, yeah, with in the 90s with the crack epidemic, yeah. Look at how they're treating the opioid epidemic in America right now. It's not the same. They criminalized the crack epidemic, but now they're talking about social justice and all of this stuff in when it comes to white people. So you also have to realize that these media things and the government is very biased in selecting who they actually care about. You know.
Thank you.
Right, can I just say something? First and foremost, I'm not going to be
afterwards, okay? You'll be the first one on next, okay? We've got a question out here from Opus Day, and he says knife crime has two causes. The person is either a psychopath, no consciousness. Second, the person feels he is superior, and the knife person is not human. Gangs and religion have that effect. That's very strong, very strong. Somebody also said prior as well is to do with having an inferiority complex, and this is a way to gain some form of superiority by having status. So very interesting contribution so far. So yes, Betty, I'm going to get you on, and I believe Ali wants to go next.
Right, first and foremost, I'm not going to be insulted by a man like Jedi that stabbed and shot people in his youth. This idea that you seem to think that black women or women don't matter because you don't have a mother, you can just take a seat, yeah? First and foremost, there are many children that don't have fathers, yeah? And most of the men that are in jail are due to the fact they don't have fathers. So it's certainly the fact that you did not have a father and you were raised by a single mother as to why you got locked up at the age of 15. So don't tell me that my experience doesn't mean anything. I grew up in a very similar background as you, but I didn't get locked up. I didn't stab anyone and I didn't shoot anyone, yeah? Maybe it's about time that these young boys, it's mainly young boys that are being stabbed, learn how to respect each other and their parents and their mothers. Because there's a lack of respect in the family for many of these young boys. And maybe you should start telling us about who groomed you.
Yeah.
How you ended up getting locked up at 15.
All right.
Because the truth hurts, doesn't it, Jedi?
All right, baby. All right, let me get Jedi.
I know you want Ali to speak.
Why don't you give us your story, Jedi?
All right, let me mute you, Betty, and let me get Jedi. Did you want to respond to that, or should we go to Ali?
Yeah, I'll just really quickly respond, and I won't have to respond again. Look, I'm not gonna pretend like we're all aware of this obsession with me that Jedi that Betty has undergone. I don't know what's really fueled it or what spurned it. But I give as good as I get. Now I've had this back and forth thing going on with Betty. She just won't leave me alone. Like I don't think she spoke about anything else today apart from Jedi. Really, on Raj's show, on your show, it's just everywhere I look. Betty talking about Jedi, and I'm trying to understand like what is it that I'm not gonna bring you any purpose in your life, yeah. So you might as well leave me alone. This is a very serious subject that's deep and close to my heart. Let me speak about the things that actually I'm interested in and I feel like I can help and make a difference in. You don't do anything in your community to make a difference when it comes to knife crime, when it comes to youth crime. So just leave me alone. I don't get it. What is with the obsession? Bro, listen, man. If I fight fire with fire, everybody's going to be like, oh, Jedi, that's disgusting, that's horrible. People are in the comments fighting fire with your fire. And then they're getting put down for, oh my God, you're saying about a black woman is disgusting. How about you try uplifting people or just keeping your mouth closed? Because you don't seem to do any of them. Just leave me alone, because trust me, it ain't going to help us, or it's not going to help any kids on the street. Me and you going back and forth on this subject when we could actually be breaking down something very, very positive and constructive. This is why I'm on my best behavior on this. Get me? Because this is a serious subject here. It's not time to be distracted with your obsession, Betty. Let it go.
First
or
of
just
all,
deal with it
let's
another day.
talk
You can't
about
help
obsession,
yourself.
shall we?
Just
Shall
let
we
it
talk
go.
about
Sorry,
you
Betty.
were the one
You spoke.
that was in the park.
Betty, you spoke. I didn't interrupt you.
You were the one that was in the
I
park
didn't
shouting.
interrupt you.
All right,
You
Betty,
spoke and I didn't interrupt you.
You
Would
were
you
the
like me
one
to
that was
stop
in the
speaking because you can't
yeah?
help yourself,
Why
Betty?
people?
Get some
You used
self-discipline,
to shoot
Betty.
and stab people.
Get
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
self-discipline.
Guess what? I'm a
Please,
better person than
please,
what you
Betty.
are, because I didn't go
Do you
around
mind
stabbing and
muting her,
shooting
please?
people. Yeah.
So I've
So
Do you
just
what
mind
you
muting
need to
the
do
young
is
lady?
take a good
so
look
yeah,
in
I've
the
just
mirror.
lowered
I
her
won't be
mic. So
taking
Betty,
any
please,
lessons
okay.
on
I've lowered her
morality
mic.
from you,
Young lady,
Jedi.
please.
I won't be taking any
Her mic has
lessons
been
from you
lowered.
on morality.
I'm not too
Yeah.
sure if
But
you.
I
Why
can't
don't you
speak and I was speaking.
green
Okay,
Jew?
so Betty,
Why
I'm going to give you one last opportunity.
green Jew?
If you cannot keep your mic
Nah,
muted in the next
I'm
5
gonna let
seconds,
that
I'm
slide,
afraid I'm going to have to
Kalam.
eject
I'm
you.
not gonna let that
So I'm going to give you
slide.
5 seconds to
Relax.
He wants to
So
talk,
that,
yeah? You want to talk,
4,
yeah? Tell us why
3,
you stab
2,
See you
people.
later, Betty.
Why don't you
1,
tell us why you stab
0.
people?
See you later, Betty.
All right. Unfortunately, we had to eject Betty because we want to go somewhere with this conversation.
Yeah, let's go somewhere with it. Yeah, go to Ali, man. I'm good. Now she's gone, I'm good.
Now you know what is somebody else has got a question for you. So whilst we've got you here, the
lovely.
question is, can you ask Jedi if he thinks banning drill music is a viable option?
No.
Okay.
Because like the guy said earlier, like 30 years ago, he was involved in knife crime. Knife crime is as ancient as knives are. It's not about the music they're listening to. I doubt very much in the mean streets of Glasgow that they were bumping drill music like when the knife crime was at its epidemic. So I think even though it plays its part, we need to keep it in its context. Yeah, we need to keep it in its context. I'm not by any means supporting the genre of drill music, but I've got friends and younger guys that actually have found a way to get out of these very same scenarios we're speaking of, because doing is reporting on what's going on in their area. If what was going on in their area was, if the circumstances in the areas changed, then I'm sure the lyrical content would change. So maybe we just need to focus on changing the realities and the outlooks of these young men, and then they may have a chance of writing something different. And Betty, I just want to ask, do you have any shots with any CMOS in? Because I heard CMOS is really good to remove mucus. You sound like you've got a backup of mucus in your throat. Maybe some CMOS would be good. But yeah, go ahead, Ali.
All right. So again, let me just thank everybody that constantly continues to support Titans TV and donate. Shout out to you, my brother Christopher Hawkins, for donating. Trust me, all your donations are truly loved, welcomed, appreciated, and you're helping us to continue the great efforts that we're doing. You're continuing us to grow and expand, and hopefully we're going to get a lot of you guys to share your time and your resources to help us actually improve and do greater things and better things in the community. So again, thank you, all of you guys who've donated on the show today that I haven't had the opportunity to shout out, okay? So again, thank you. And again, like whilst we're here, hit the like button, baby, hit the like button.
Can I just say that I agree with what Jedi said in his last speech. I agree.
What about CMOS?
No, not about the CMOS. About the but I do agree about the CMOS too. But that wasn't what I was referring to though. And I mean, people need to ask themselves, how was Julius Caesar killed?
Yeah.
You know, and if you don't know, he was juked to death on the steps of the Senate by his own man's them. So I mean, the knife crime thing is nothing new. It's gonna always, as long as there's knives and as long as there's people are gonna be juking each other. And I read in one of the comments there, somebody wrote, you know, basically to all of these people, they should send them in the army. I was in the army for 10 years. That's where I learned to be even a more efficient killer. So it's not always people often speak without experience or knowledge on a particular subject. If you're like, I'm not being funny, if you're like I don't know, a little middle class white boy from Stoke-on-Trent, and you're writing in the comment them stupid things there, you don't know what you're talking about. Don't even bother. Don't even bother. If you're not about that, you haven't been around it. Everybody I know was in it, involved it, or knew somebody get juke up or shot up or something. So if you don't really know, then don't even make a comment from your academic background, from what you've read in, you know, the Daily Telegraph or something like that. Don't even bother.
All right. So again, let me just quickly go out there to the community, and I want to read some of the comments out and just give thanks as well to you know, John McDermott again. You know, that's my real. You know, the man is saying your troopers. You know, these guys here really support Titans TV. Like really put their money where their mouth is. So shouts out to John McDermott for supporting Titans TV. I'm gonna keep on hailing you up all the time because you guys really keep us doing great things. All right, and Nwabin Snipers in the building. Let me just quickly see again. If you guys got any questions for me, right, do what has been done here by Middlesex Omar by simply tagging Titans TV, see how it pops up, or do exactly as John McDermott has done by simply donating or hitting the super chat button so I can see your comments, and I'll do my very best to read them out. We're talking about senseless killings. Okay. All right. Anything else? Let me just quickly see. Hold on. I want to make sure that the audience is represented as well. So I know we're on here on the panel. It says Titans TV. I have asked questions 5 times. Okay. So can the panel ask Jedi what he thinks of children who have deadbeat daddies? Why they always end up in jail? If that is true, I don't know if that's a loaded question or not. I don't know the answer to it. But anyways, probably has the best fest. Okay, all right. Let me ask it without it going down derogatory lines. So I'm going to ask the panel in particular, okay, including Jedi. What do you think? What do you?
This is Betty's question, isn't it?
Yeah.
So this is the thing. Yeah, we keep playing it. I want to be mature, and I want to just keep it moving and focus on what we're focusing on. This is why I asked you before I come on, why have you got Betty on this? She's not going to add anything constructive. If you look and tell me what she added constructive to this, I will donate money right now. All she did is abuse and insult and actually prove man's point about the social media and this back and forth and this pettiness. Like, I can let it go. I'm prepared to let it go and move forward. If you want to keep taking your shots, you keep taking your shots, but I will have no remorse on you. So just let it go, man. Let's just move forward. And as for the thing about the single parents things, I mean, like, you're asking me because I've been to jail. So assumingly, like, my perspective is good. And Betty was ranting and raving about how I'd shot people and stabbed people. I mean, I think she's watched one too many of my videos. In one of my videos, I did a testimony on a panel where Leo Mohammed and a few other people was present. We was requested to come down there. I gave my testimony of my life, some of my life story, obviously not all of it, but in it I mentioned, yeah, I'd used weapons, so I know firsthand what it's like. I've had weapons used on me. I know firsthand what it's like, and I've been to jail, so I know what it's like to lose your liberty and be released and be looking for a new outlet or a new way to move, lest you go back there. And yes, I have also been in I've been in relationships that have gone awry, and then communication with the children has become, sporadic at best, sometimes non-existent for a period of times. And then, like, you rekindle, you get, legally, you get back your rights and things like that. I don't really want to go into the ins and outs, but I mean, surely we've already discussed how an unstable home is never going to be the best foundation for the upbringing of any child, let alone ones that are basically high risk because of the areas you're living in and because of your economic status, your social economic status. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, I do think that it does play a big part. I don't think it's the only factor. I know people that middle class, they went down the wrong road. I know people that had both parents and this and that, very supportive networks, they went down the wrong road. When we look at the actual statistics of jail and prison, there's a lot of people in jail and prison that went and did further education. They're now in prison. Like, this stuff happens. People make mistakes. People make accidents. I feel we should stay away from trying to stereotype the people that fall under the circumstances that leave them vulnerable to knife crime, either committing it or being attacked. I feel we should stop trying to stigmatize them and not make it seem like, because, sorry to go off on a bit of a tangent, but if you look at the way certain men are treated, yeah, because they are forthcoming with information and they are willing to let people know that, look, this ain't the right route, they get attacked by their own people. Remember, it's not white people. I mean, I don't know who Ben is, but it's a black woman that is putting that information out there to kind of put me down. Unfortunately, I've made amends with my life and things that have gone wrong, things that have gone right, and I'm happy where I am. I'm actually in a very positive space. I'm earning good money. I've got a family, and I'm part of an organization that's moving forward. Everybody knows I swear, I cast, I do all these things, but you got to keep that within the context of I can choose to do those things. I also have the ability to choose not to. If I feel that you don't respect me, I'm not going to give you respect. Like, I go on Uncle Ty's show because if you're going to do 48 hours of a show on me, then yeah, I'm going to give you a bit of fire. But I ain't punched no one. I ain't hit no one. You understand what I'm saying? Well, do you understand what I'm saying, Titans? I'm not sure. Do you think I've punched anyone? I don't know.
Moving swiftly on. Okay, moving swiftly on.
All right.
Let me shout out Carlos David. Okay, shout out Carlos David. Again, you lot are showing the amount of love. You know, it's incredible. It's phenomenal. I want to know, okay, like once you've donated this, what do you want us to do? Give us some suggestions, okay, how we could best spend your monies that you're donating. What would you like Titans to TV to do that's different? Okay, I need to really do something extra for you guys. All right. We did have a good question. Sorry, academic screening says she made it. Okay. Okay. All right. Hold on. Oh, sugar. There's even more. Sorry. Peace to Kalam, Jedi, and everybody who tuned in to put their differences aside for a very important topic. Indeed. Salute. I believe, all the way from America. Shouts out to you for supporting, donating, salute. Dropping a very encouraging comment as well. Yeah. Jedi, do you want to say anything on that?
No, I'm just saying, yeah, big up, man. Salute, man. Salute. It's important.
Awesome.
It's important to show that, you know. And I know that Kalam has always shown that. I've always shown that with Kalam as well. Yeah. Any issues that or differences you think we have are like, I don't know, they're minuscule because I don't have any personal beef with anybody. You know, there's nothing personal. So if we've got a clash of ideas and we're gonna talk it out, let us talk it out. I think what Ulrich was saying about the kids being frustrated and unable to alleviate some of that frustration is because simply it's like we're not allowed to express ourselves like everybody else does. You can literally have a Chinese man screaming and shouting at the top of his lungs and everyone's okay with that. As soon as a black man raises his voice, I've got a very loud voice, very powerful vocal cords. As soon as I raise my voice, even an iota, people already start calling out aggression, intimidation, and this is actually the sign of racist mentalities. You see what I'm saying? And I know our children suffer from this a lot. They feel like they can't express themselves in a way that is natural to their being. When you go to Africa, when you go to Nigeria, you hear just go to Peckham. You don't even need to go to Nigeria. Go to Peckham and hear the level on which Nigerian people speak on. Just chatting to each other, just busting jokes, just talking on the phone, talking to their child. Hear the decibel level. We naturally are louder people. So, I mean, when you try to paint us with the traits of the westernized world, of the British culture, often the two don't mix. And then we are either forced to assimilate or go against the grain. I go against the grain more times, do you know what I mean? But when I need to assimilate in order for me to get something or get something done, I will do it. I'm not going to go in an interview screaming and shouting. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Yeah, that's what I wanted to add to that. Sorry, bro.
Ultra Funky dropped another donation as well and said, Bay and Jedi on the same panel? Callum? Really?
Hey, Callum.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
Hold on 1 second. Let me just make sure I've got all the comments read out. Just real quick, I'm just going to read out the comments now, okay? Because I know the panel members want to speak. It says here, Born Rich Club Film says, will teaching the youth comedic philosophy help curb knife crime? I'll answer that later on. And the short answer is yes. The way Jedi dissed in the park. Okay, let me read it out because you did do it twice. The way Jedi dissed you in the park and you're able to still show love is a blessing. Real role model that is guiding a new generation 100%. Times TV, thank you for the show. Thanks for Jedi Online sharing. It takes courage, indeed. It takes a lot of courage to actually share personal information
personal information, personal story, and it's not sharing it for people to misuse that information. It's sharing to reach out to the youth to let them know that, you know, we've been in the same situation that you have, and we've come through it at the end. Okay, so yeah, shouts out to Jedi for that. I think a lot of people are learning and actually sorry, let me stop reading comments. Sorry, let me stop reading comments. I know you are sending me comments. Please, no more comments for now. Let me go back to the panel because it is getting quite late.
Callum.
Okay. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, just to touch on what your man just said. Yeah, it's like a way that manifests as well. Is in the schooling. Yeah, with kids. Like a lot of times, it's not just the loud, aggressive, angry black man. It's an intelligent black child is often demonized in the schooling system. You know, whether it's talk like, you know, I don't know, like an obvious example is kids talking too much or having a bad attitude. You know, I don't know a kid in the world unless there's some like, you know, they grow up in some super rigid household that doesn't have a bad attitude or isn't just learning, essentially just learning about himself or learning how to be in society in different schoolings. They change schools, they change classes, they change teachers, but there's always, when it comes to black children, I feel like there's this super level that they have to attain that it's unlikely that they ever will attain, and then from then on they're always considered considered as having a bad attitude or when they're within groups of other young black kids, as was said earlier, it looked like it's always intensified or magnified. The actions are magnified. It always looks extra violent or extra aggressive or extra whatever. And I think that stays with you. It grows up with you. It's not something you just learn at 19 or 20, unless you're an immigrant to this country. You learn it throughout your whole life that you're treated or seen as differently. And it makes you go one of two ways. Either, as your man was saying, at times he assimilates, at times he is himself, essentially, yeah. But for that constant struggle, that internal struggle constantly sometimes can break someone, or sometimes it forces someone to go extreme to one or two of the extremes. You have your whole community saying you're a bounty, you're X, you're whatever, or it has man super gangster, super thug at like 13, he's some super American or super whatever. I think I fully agree with what he was saying. I'm saying that starts from really early in this country, at least, because that's the only experience I have. But it starts early. It starts from you've got a bad attitude, or you can't be witty. Like, and a lot of times, there's obviously a lot of good teachers in the world that aren't black, but a lot of times it comes that when a little kid's super witty or whatever, or he's got a bad attitude, or not necessarily witty but cheeky, like there's that cheeky that gets put on white children, whereas when it comes to a black child, he's got a bad attitude, or he's lippy, or he's leery, or he's mouthy, and it sticks with him his whole life. You know, teachers talk about him, we don't like this kid for whatever reason, and then he's got a bad attitude, and then he identifies as such, and then and then he grows up with that, and then for and then you know, like I think example was walking into a bank or something like that. But you feel like if from a child, you've always felt like all the teachers, whenever you're standing outside a teacher's office or whatever, you feel like all these teachers are looking at you, they've been speaking about you, that's that kid, and you don't feel you've done anything wrong. Then before you've done anything wrong in any other situation in life, you walk in there feeling like, these people are onto me already, so let me keep my voice down. And if it goes the other way, it's like, fuck these people anyway, and you're walking around with a fuck the world mentality.
But remember, no swearing, okay? Sorry. I've heard you. I know where you're going with this. Yeah. Let me just clear it real quickly. I want to ask a few questions. A few of the questions are going around the same line of police and so forth. So let me read out from Amelia, and I think it's Phil Mitchell, which is, broadly speaking, the same type of question. Jedi. Okay, so basically, Gang and Jedi, believes that cooperating with police is not beneficial. Believe that cops are the ops. How should the youth go about reporting crime? How should the youth go about reporting crime then?
This is why you should have made me as a guest, man. You get me? So I could have just spoke my mind, didn't it? But
before you answer,
don't worry about it.
Before you answer, I want to ask you, is it possible that we can get you and some of the gang members to come onto the show to speak on some of these topics on another day?
On another day, I wouldn't see no reason why, bro, man. I wouldn't see no reason why, bro. You get me?
Why not?
Yeah, I wouldn't see no reason why not. Sorry, bro. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. What was the question? Sorry.
So basically, speaking to police, how should the youth go about reporting crime, if at all?
I'm not really. I mean, what kind of crimes are you talking about? What are you talking about? I'm not like, if your car's been stolen and you need to get a crime reference number, report the crime, bro. Report it, man. Report it. I'm not here to advocate how to report crime. I'm more trying to get us to the point where even if there is crimes, we can solve them ourselves. We can police them ourselves. We can get back to a more village-like mentality from whence we came. Yeah, where the communities are more responsible for themselves. So let's take neighborhood watch to a deeper level, where we're actually reporting incidences of criminality and bad behavior or antisocial behavior directly to the families and to the people that can get a result. Because I don't think anyone really wins by just reporting another you and sending him to jail. That guy goes to jail, comes out. It doesn't work. Prison is not. UK prisons definitely are not rehabilitation based. So even we have the governments themselves looking at new ways to deal with things because they realize the prison is just a revolving door. We must understand that prison is just modern day slavery right now. You go there, you sit down, you get yourself a little prison job, and the government earns money off you. And the governor of the jail gets a fat paycheck, drives around in £100,000 cars. And then you're back out on road. You've just met up with the top of the criminal underworld, and you're back onto the streets doing the same thing. So I think what we need to really focus on is prevention. But yeah, it's a complex one. I can't lie to you and say that we have all the answers.
Can I jump in there?
Yes, brother.
If I may.
I just want to say this. Let me give you an example, because I think because this is a woman speaking, right? And I feel what you're saying. There definitely needs to be, some other form of justice that needs to be done. There is a good case or new thing that's happening in America at present, which is called restorative justice, where you can literally sit down with the perpetrator, the victim and perpetrator can sit down and try to come to some type of amends without the need of going through the judicial system. So, but I want to say though, let's just say, for example, because it was Emilia who said this, right? For example, if somebody was a young lady was sexually assaulted, what would you say to that young woman? Would it be to tell somebody who's part of the community, or would it be to report it to the police?
Come and tell us.
How would I come across this information?
Sorry, how would you come across this information?
How would I come across the information?
So somebody, let's just say somebody's cousin. It happened to somebody's cousin. They've now told you, your aunties have been speaking on this, and that's how you heard.
I'll tell them to go and speak to their family and get advice from their family. I'm not a professional, and I wouldn't really want to get involved in something that is something as sensitive as that, a sexual assault. That is really, really serious. You get me? Like, despite what Hassan says about women wanting to be raped, I think it's really, really, really serious, and I don't have the expertise to deal with that. So, personally, I would just say, if someone came to me with that complaint, I'd send them towards their family members or someone or another female and that could maybe help them out with that scenario, and they can deal with it the best way they can, because I believe that sexual offenders actually probably should skip the prison stage and go straight into the coffin. That's me, innit? Personally, it's not me speaking for gang. This is me personally. If it was a member of my family and I had concrete evidence, I don't think it'd be nice. That's the truth. So, like I said, I'm not an angel, man. We all got different ways of dealing with things, but it's justice, innit?
Right.
And where I'm from, and and under the principles I grew up in, you don't rape and you don't abuse, you don't molest, and you're not pedophiles. Don't get no. Yeah, man. I just feel like we can't be wasting taxpayers' money or whatever, sending these pedophiles and these rapists and that to jail, man. Done them.
Yeah. So can I actually say what I was gonna say there?
Yeah, go ahead.
Right, Jedi. I've got to say something. I've found a new respect for gang just by the things you said today, especially for the previous conversation you had, whereby you said that go out to the community and actually help with the community and instead of reporting certain things to the police, actually acting as a village and trying to sort those issues out yourself or as a community. Now, to be honest with you, I didn't know you lot were about that, to be real. And I think it's essential that you try and get that out as best you can.
I think it's essential that you actually come and investigate what we're about independently, because that's very loud and clear. One of the things we speak about almost every time we speak in public. Sorry to cut you, but
yeah, that's fine. Yeah. But I'm saying, as a layman that doesn't go to the park and doesn't have any associate. Well, I've got a few associations with gang, funny enough. But for the layman person, the Joe Average, Joe Public, I think that's essential that you put that out there so that you get more support. I think a manifesto or whatever it is in any way, shape or form, because from an outsider looking in, you're thinking, what are these guys doing? Like, what's going on? I see a load of guys smoking ganja, staying in circles, talking all kinds of stuff, and it doesn't make any sense to me. Now, if you're not about that life, it won't make no sense.
How would you know someone was smoking ganja? Brother, I beg you just stick to the points and to the facts, bro.
I am sticking.
No, please don't do that, bro. Don't do that. I'm begging you, please. Like all that. Oh, we're smoking ganja. Like I don't want to hear about it, bro. This is still with the facts, bro. If you ain't got no facts about no one smoking ganja, don't put that over the airways, bro.
I'll tell you what I'll do after this live show's over. I'll share the facts. Yeah. All right. But nevertheless, I think that's essential.
Have you smoked weed with people in the circle?
No.
Have you stood in the circle before?
No.
Have you smelt weed from the circle before?
No.
So you have no facts, bro.
Like I said, we discussed that afterwards, yeah?
Bro, like again, if you can't answer, if any of those three questions were answered with a no, bro, you don't have facts. Just be humble and say, you know what, I don't. Don't tell me like, oh yeah, I'm gonna speak to you offline, because then you're making it seem like me and you share some kind of secret.
Okay,
don't
it's not a secret. I'm just.
You've got a perception, and it's wrong. You've got a perception.
All right. Do you think I'm the only person with that perception?
I don't. It doesn't matter whether you are the only one.
Well, it does. I'm trying to. The thing I'm trying to do here is that is a perception that some people may have. Do you understand?
Anyway, man.
I'm not trying to attack you out here. I'm not trying to attack you out here. I'm trying to be real with you and show you what some people may have a perception of.
Don't try to throw my organization under the bus, bro.
No,
don't do that, bro.
No, I'm not doing that.
All right, cool.
If you listen,
get your point, Buddha, man.
Well, I just made my point. My point is,
thank you.
Okay,
thank you.
So my point was this, just to clarify, so it's clear to you, right? I think that the work you're doing is exemplary and exceptional, and I think
this is long, man. This is long, bro. Thank you.
You're most welcome. I'm going to mute my mic.
Doing is good.
I'm going to mute my mic and let you talk.
Look. You see what I don't like here is these disingenuous, like oh my god, like now I've heard you speak and it's so good. And bruv, do you know how many times man has spoken on a level articulately and intellectually? If you want to find it, if you want to hear it, the message is for you. You would have sought it out. Yeah, you didn't need to come on Titans TV to hear me speaking for 15 minutes.
I think I've never heard.
Jedi, what if it was his first time?
But it's not though.
No, but he was saying
positive. But it's not though, bro. But it's not.
And you slated him.
I'm not slating him. There's no slating him.
He's not slating him. He's correct his statements. That's fine. He's entitled to his opinion.
I'm not slating him.
He's not slating me. He's just trying to, be a bit defensive there. I'm not sure why. But this is the first time I've heard you speak on Kalam's Titans, so that's why I was just expressing that.
I'm gonna agree with Buddha here because Jedi, I've seen you a few times on the videos here and there. And I always thought, man, this guy's a bit fucked up, to be honest with you. And I actually changed my opinion also listening to you today. Truth be told.
This is the thing. You lot are social media led. You don't deal with facts. You don't deal with evidence. And you know what? Who said I'm not fucked up? What? Because you heard me speak articulately. That's bro. This is the thing. Yeah, I don't cater to your crowd. I don't cater to those that make those quick judgments, those snap judgments. You don't have any facts. You don't have any info. Bro, please let me. Can I just say what I'm saying?
You're making a snap judgment.
Or is it an argument?
You're making a snap judgment about us.
I'm not making any snap. I'm not judging
what you're accusing me and him.
I'm just saying I don't care. Brother, man, like I don't have to care if you're giving me a big up and a high five. I don't have to care. I don't have to dance and jig and say, "Oh, thank you."
Do you care about your public perception,
bro? Like this ain't what this is not what is on trial right now.
Okay,
right
you know
now,
what? Good point.
Jedi's public perception. That's a good point. What I tried to do is save you from making a comment about my organization that you couldn't substantiate with fact. You personally couldn't. Now, if somebody else feels they can, let them come on and do that. But if you can't, then allow it. But you weren't hearing it. I
Okay,
just
what
stopped
if
you.
I told
Bro,
you
stop. Wait.
hypothetically
Wait. What is your organization? Yours, Buddha.
I don't have one.
All right, boom. I have an organization. So if I'm trying to tell you to look, stick to the facts, it's simple. You should have just moved on.
Okay, so if I tell you, let's say hypothetically speaking, I've seen a member.
Bro, man, allow this, man. Come on, man. Let's move on, bro. Move on. My black brother. My black African brother. Can we move on, please, bro?
Yeah, let me come through now. Man's been waiting for long.
Let's move on. Let me get Ali on, and then I'm gonna go on. Ali, go ahead.
Yeah, boy, I've been waiting for long. I had a few things to say, but the conversation just took different diversions. So I don't even know where to start. Time where I was about to make my comment, I think Jedi was saying something to Betty about, you know what, he's ready to squash that rubbish and just move on. And I think that, you know, there should be something constructive come out of this panel today, potentially, because for Jedi to make a statement like that, in case I got it wrong, but it sounded like to me, you were saying to Betty, this is all nonsense. Let's just squash it, draw a line, and move on. Now, if someone's making that statement and I'm a host of the show, and you know, it's people within my community, what I'll do is I'll jump on that statement and I'll try to mediate between the two people involved and just squash it. And I think that that's something that you should try to do, Kalam, even today off the show. That was a side point. That's not the point I was going to make. That was just in response to what Jedi was saying. Because I've been watching this two-fold things and I'm hearing some nasty things being said by both sides, you know, about each other. Very low things. And like, it's not about putting each other down.
Very low.
I've said I've heard both sides saying nasty things about each other.
I'm asking you now, what have I said that's very low? I'm asking you.
I've just seen like talk about babies, this, no baby, that, all that kind of stuff.
Why is that very low?
Ali, now let me just stop. Let me stop.
Come on, man.
I don't want to go down that route.
This is the thing, bruv, man. You lot are funny, bruv, man. You lot, look, you lot, I don't know what you lot are on, bruv, man. Just
hey, Jedi.
with your facts, bruv. I'm asking you what, like, it's facts what man is saying about Betty's baby. That is a fact. That is an actual fact. What do you want man to say? He's getting attacked. You see someone getting attacked. Leave them to do it, bruv. Leave them to do their thing. Because at the end of the day, bro, no one woke up thinking about Betty or, oh my God, yes, let's form an organization and start talking about Betty. No, it's the other way around. So just leave it, innit? What I say to Buddha, if you've noticed the chat, started talking Buddha, yeah? If you noticed the chat, you're giving people fuel to say negative things.
Hold on.
Jeez, how comes I've been muting Jedi. Jedi's button is not even muting. It just jumped out though.
Wait, let me say
hold on. Mute your mics, man. Mute mics. It's late o'clock. Like I got my family sleeping, and it's 1 o'clock in the morning, and neighbors can all hear me talking. Can hear you guys talking. So, what I would love to do right now is, you know, jeez, it's long. It's been crazy. Shout out to Ultra Funky. Did have a message for Jedi as well. But unfortunately, I don't have the opportunity to do that right now. And I want to do this, okay? I want to give you guys a sentence, okay? Because I'm closing down the show right now. One sentence, one word. What would you say to, you know, the community out there? You know, the community. What can they do on an individual basis? Okay, you as a person, what can you do to solve, to hinder, to prevent any future violence or knife crime in your own respective communities or in the broader society? So I'm going to go over to Vegeta first, since you just jumped in. Okay, I'm going to repeat. What can you do? One sentence or one word or a few words. What can you do to stop, slow down, prevent any further knife crime or violence in your community? Vegeta.
Yeah, brotherhood, man. Brotherhood.
All right, thank you. Ultra Funky.
I'm trying to think of a single word, Kalam. It's difficult. Like for me personally, mental health, man.
You could do a whole sentence. I did say you can do a sentence.
Oh, okay, yeah. For me, in the Black community, conflict resolution and mental health, if these two issues were addressed, managed, tackled, overcome, the black community would come on leaps and bounds overnight. And that's my contribution. Good night.
Thank you, Ultra Funky. All right, Ricky.
Go online and read the works of Kwesi Akarden, starting with the Cuckoo Tung Tung, and revert to your African spiritual traditions. That's my thing.
Jeez. All right. Luna.
Yeah, man. I'd say love, man. Love your family. Families build communities. Communities build a nation. And then boom, we can all do this thing together, man.
Perfect. Love that one. Kellyanne.
I would say structure, social control, um, with elders that do care about the community, and I think that's good to have a good oversight and to keep a good structure in society, or else be more spiritual prey.
Okay, thank you. Love that. James, and sorry, before now, Jedi, you haven't been kicked out. You can join any moment. As long as somebody jumps out, then you can join in. So if any of you guys can just jump out and let Jedi have his say.
Yo, Cal, it's Ultra again. I'm gonna make way for Jedi. Just do me a favor. When he jumps in, just ask him to check his Hangout DMs, please.
All right, perfect. I think
All
he
right,
said.
take care, guys. Peace.
Thanks.
Peace.
All right. All right. So who we on? James? Was it James?
Yeah, you're right.
Yep.
Quickly, first, what was that name that Ricky said to look up? What was that thing he said? He said look up a person or the works of a person.
We'll do that afterwards. Just give us your sentence.
What you can do personally is promote positive aspirations for Black children and promote positive images for Black children. Simply, and positive aspirations mean get money yourself and wealth and find a way of showing them a strategy to aspire to it. You know, do this and you'll get this, do that and you'll get that.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right, Ezra.
Yes, brother. Yeah, for me, firstly, we have to teach them to love the Most High. But secondly, apart from that, it's about giving them something to do with themselves. Like, they ain't got no community centers, nothing like that no more, no community initiatives and all that. So me personally, I take kids and I teach them football. I'm a coach on a Sunday. Like, something, we just have to find something that they love and something that will occupy them in it. But yeah, that's my opinions on that one.
Okay, thank you. And Buddha.
You know what? I think we need to support and understand organizations within the community, like Gang. Like I said, I've got a newfound knowledge and respect for their work. So I think it's a case of understanding and supporting.
Awesome. And Ali?
Can I get in or not?
Okay, Ali. Go ahead, Ali.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
What's the question again? Give it to me again, man.
What can you do personally, or advice that you can give others that they can do personally to prevent, slow down, or stop knife crime or
So
violence?
what you need to do, what we need to do as men in the community, as fathers in the community, when you're taking your son football, look around your area and see what other boys there who ain't got no dad to take him football, and take him with you, you and your son. And when you got to take your son boxing, take him boxing too. So there's a lot of youths out there that can't get to these activities because they ain't got nobody to take them there. So if everybody who's taking their one youth and grab another deprived youth and take them with him, then boom, things is going to be moving in a positive direction.
Oh man, give thanks. Thank you. Let me just
Could you,
quickly shout out.
Callum,
Hold
could
on.
you give Jedi the opportunity just to finish off what he was saying before he dropped out?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna get Jedi's gonna have literally the last words.
And let me quickly shout out to Ellie Doe. I don't even like Ellie Doe. If you're inside of the comment section now with us, can you just please say hello, hi? Just tag Titans TV and say hello, hi. All right, so I know it's you, please, so I can give you a nice personal shout out. Okay, so we've got E dot. E dot. Okay, E dot. Before we close out, come on, I need you to talk. All right. If you're not going to talk, you're going to miss your opportunity.
You're black.
All right. Yep. All right. So I'm going to go to Jedi now. So Jedi, you literally got, it's your words. It's going to close us out, basically. So if you want to just talk on anything you want to talk about, and please answer the question that I stated. Also,
what question?
What advice to yourself and to others? If you're speaking to yourself and give yourself some advice, what would it be to slow down, prevent, and stop knife crime and violence in your own community?
Can you ask that question again, please? You was breaking up.
Okay. So again, I'm going to give you the free reign to speak about anything that you want to speak about. But I would love for you to finish off by answering the question: what advice can you give to yourself or to members in our community that they can do individually to slow down, stop, and prevent violence and knife crime in their community?
Okay, the advice I'd give to people would be if we're dealing with people, we've got the online community here now. So, I mean, there's a lot of people with some really good suggestions, some people that seem really concerned about the community, really concerned with the quote unquote black community, the youth violence, single parent families. So I would suggest, even though it's really good you having an online presence and, declaring your concern over the Wi-Fi, I would suggest that you turn off your computers and get out into the roads and create yourself an organization that is built to tackle such issues. Get out there and make a difference. Like, prove to me that I want to be going on all you guys' lives. Like, there's a lot of regular faces that know, or regular names that know Jedi, know Gang. They've got a lot to say, and I'd really like to be able to go onto their lives when they're talking about issues that they're dealing with and, their initiatives. I'd like to see them see their videos of how they, change things in their community, even if they're not doing it that well, even if they're making mistakes. I'd like them to be open and honest enough to say, do you know what? I'm going to get out there. I might not be perfect, but I'm going to do my best and I will support you. That's what I want. That's what I want. And I think we can all agree on the panel that it'd be amazing to see 100 more gangs, like quote unquote, 100 more grassroots organizations designed to try and make some kind of headway on the issues that they find in their areas. I'd be like, trust me, I'd be so emotional to see some of you guys, you regular faces. I can see you all up in the chat right now. I'd love it. Mandela, some of you that are just beautiful human beings that's got so much energy to give. You've got love for Titans. Titans love the black community. Support Titans. Support the kids in your area. Get out there and make a difference, man. That's what I would give advice to other people. Advice to me, it'd probably be like, do you know what? Take each day as it comes. Keep doing the best you can do. And don't watch anybody that's not trying to fill that gap that you are. Don't watch anybody that's not doing nothing. You get me? While criticizing. Be a doer. Let others be talkers. That's what I would put out there. So yeah, man. Big up Miss Manuela T. Because she's talking about she's got money and, she's building a house. Maybe like throw some money into this super chat for man like Titans. Help him since you're such a fan. Throw some of that building money in. People just need to actually get active. You know what I'm trying to say? Get active. That's my advice. Anyway, for me personally, I've just said, yeah, just keep doing my thing. Be patient with myself. Give myself a chance to grow. And yeah, man, that's that. In terms of just wanting to talk about anything randomly, I just feel like, you know what, this has been a really good opportunity. Thank you for letting man on the show. If we could do more shows like this about these specific subjects, not so much about Islam or about grooming gangs. Not saying these are not important issues, but for me personally, anyway, knife crime is a really pressing issue, And if we could just get together and make a concerted effort together, then I would start understanding what people meant by oh, your community, your people, rare, because I see people that are interested in the same things that I am, people that are worried by the same things that I'm worried about. And I see them putting that energy in. I align with, man. I stand in solidarity all day long when it comes to these facts, when it comes to these things, man. Because at the end of the day, ultimately, no matter what anyone wants to think about me, whatever they think, whether I smoked weed or I was a bit of a nutter or any of these things, yeah, my thing is this. If you can't see that man is actually here on ground level, actually doing work, no, you're not going to see it in Speaker's Corner. How many G Circles have you seen in Speaker's Corner in the last 6 months? What, 2? We're active. We're out there. We're building links. We've got things going on. And it ain't for us to say, oh, look at gang. Look what we just trying to set a blueprint. Maybe you think you can do something better. Go and do it. You think I'm going to be mad if you go and start an organization and kids start coming off the roads? Kids.
Indeed. Oh, Jedi has just dropped out. Sugar, Jedi's dropped out. So, you know, real quickly, just shout out. I'd like to just shout out. Let me do this actually. Shout out Manuela T. You know, Jedi did say, put your money where your mouth is, basically, and she did exactly that, right? Miss Manuela T. All right. I really wanted to ask Jedi the question, but since I don't have him here at present, let's see if I can do this. Gang Unite TV. There you go. So the question was, where can I find
humanize us and make us feel like less than what we are, and what we are really are supreme beings, and we all need to raise up in that and feel proud about what we do and how we move, and you know, just give ourselves more reasons to be proud. So yeah, man, big up to everyone on the panel. Big up to you, Kalam. Like, everything I said to you is genuine, bro. I don't know, you don't seem to be here. I don't see him, but everything I said to you is genuine, and I really, really feel like things like this, if done with the right spirit, can actually help, like, transform things a little bit, man. Just a little bit, and at least we're doing our bit, man. So big you up, Titans, man, and big up the panel, man. I'm out.
Yeah, it's out to Jedi. And the family out there would love to know, where can they connect with you guys online? I was just in the process of showing the Gang Unite TV Instagram. So is there anywhere else that we can go to? Jedi.
So is there Gang Unite TV on Instagram, on YouTube? Personally, you got Respect Official. Obviously, he's like a big man in this thing. Big up man like Respect out there. Big up the whole of gang furthermore. You got me, Jedi Online on YouTube, and Red Pill Trill on Instagram. And, you know, like, we always got like a representative down there at Speaker's Corner. So you want to go there, a lot of people go down there and touch base with us and just see some of the moves that we do, man. And, you know, like, there's so many ways in today's interactive society to get hold of someone and to see the works that people do. I feel offended when I just take it away when a man says, oh, I thought you did this and I didn't know you did that. It just makes me feel a bit disingenuous. Like, get off your ass, innit? Like, if you're on a panel talk about knife crime and you know we're in London, this must be something important to you. Otherwise, why would you be on the panel talking about something that you don't care about? So if you care about it, you know there's an organization and a few organizations out there to deal with it. Just look a bit deeper. Don't let the trolls and those naysayers that don't want to see black people empowering themselves in any way, shape or form, whether it be Titans TV or whether it be gang. Because you got to remember, some of the people on the gang side don't want us to connect with Titans TV. Some of the people on the TV side don't want them to connect with gang, because that's gonna create too much cohesion. And ultimately, we have to be aware that there's a lot of people out there of many races, many beliefs, that don't want to see a certain section of society improve and rise up, and that is our first and foremost. That's our first and foremost responsibility. Buddha, I beg you, let this end on a positive thing, bro. Like, if you want to chat to me off after this, we can chat, innit? Like, definitely we can chat, because you got some weed story to talk to me about. But right about now, let me just end it on that, innit? Like, boom, bam, that's it. Big up the random.
Family, we're going to sign out now. But of course, if you guys would like to join us and talk to us whilst we're off air, I shall be sharing the link.
And yes, white people allowed in gang. I expect to see you in your droves. That is the most popular question. Can white people join gang? Yes, white people can join gang. We see you all on Sunday, yeah? Spread the word. White people can join gang. See you all on Sunday. Let's see how we turn up.
And love, baby. Peace and love, family. Peace and love. I'll see you guys on the other side. Oh, man.